It's time for some pop goulash. I'm Ruben, and we got a record here. We got, 4 weeks into the month already, and this will be the 4th episode out for the new year, so I'm on a roll, bitches. But yeah, I'm just excited to actually have some content for you guys. So this week, sitting across the table from me is a dude I met through. Did we meet at Kiss the Sky first? Or
I was
did we
actually
meet at church.
I was trying to remember the first time I met you. It had to have been through Kiss the Sky, if not at Kiss the Sky.
Possibly.
Because even though you had been working there, I think you weren't working there when I first started coming around.
Well, do you remember about what year?
This would be like 2008.
Oh, yeah,
maybe?
I was long gone.
Right. And so they still had the store up in Geneva. And
yeah.
But Steve said, oh, I remember what it was. He was standing in your wedding.
Yes.
And he was talking about, oh, yeah, I have this thing. I got to go for this guy. And that was the thing. And that's when your name first started coming up around. So I don't exactly remember where we first met, but that's when
did you first start playing around and subbing in at the Orchard?
Yeah, so that's a good question.
Sitting across from me.
Yeah, right, exactly. But we already got into the content.
Right.
Okay.
So, oh Jesus, Zach, I forgot your last name.
No, man, it's okay because it's such a strong name.
Goforth.
Goforth.
God damn
It's
it.
Goforth. That's
I
how
knew
it goes.
that.
You knew that name.
I knew that.
When everything's rolling, we forget a lot of things. That's
Yeah.
why I have my notes, so I'm not going to forget.
I never have notes.
That's right.
So when did you start? So you started playing. You would come in occasionally and play drums and bass.
So when I moved to downtown Aurora, we got plugged into this thing through Backthird Audio, which was Benji's old studio. I don't know if you remember going to any of that. They had like these mixers where they'd be like musicians and sound guys and all sorts of stuff. And that's where I met Ben Thomas.
Okay.
It was just at a mixer. And
Sure.
then we started doing music together, his original stuff. There was this Christmas show they'd always do. And then I just started getting calls when he was working at the Orchard. Hey, I need a drummer this weekend. I think it was like for a big weekend, like an Easter thing.
Sure.
And that was basically it for a few years until he moved to California.
Right.
And at that point, I already knew Scott. And literally, like the conversation, Scott was like, "Man, if you could really help me out, maybe
do something in the interim."
Yeah, he's like, "Maybe you could come in for a while." And I was like, "Not a bad. I mean, we could talk about it." And then that turned into a little bit longer, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, so that's how I got plugged in, and that was, man.
So that had been about 20.
That would have been more like
2014.
Yeah, 2012, 2013.
Okay, yeah, because we got married in 2012.
Okay, so there it is. I remember the conversation.
Yeah, so right around that time frame. So yeah, I've played with Zach a bunch of times, back in the day at the old building. So, but yeah, so I was putting it out there. I'm like, I need guests, and Zach's, because I had actually talked to you a while ago.
We had talked about doing it a while ago,
but your schedule is crazy busy. Because not only is he a musician, he's an instructor. A badass, like he gigs around a lot.
There's some busyness happening.
Always he's also trying to get stuff ready and appropriate for Sunday mornings.
That's true, yeah.
At La Iglesia. So, how did things go this morning?
I actually wasn't. I had a weekend off.
Nice.
Because contractually, I'm only there every other week. But you know how that works.
Right.
You're there more times. No, it's cool. Actually, there's a new sound system that went in that I did not get to test out for the first time, which is a bummer. I wasn't the first one to play through, but I heard it all. And
right.
So yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, I think it went well. It was very cold out. I didn't have to get up and brave the cold.
We didn't go this morning either.
So yeah, so Scott's gonna listen back to this, and
Scott doesn't listen
to the show.
He doesn't listen.
He probably didn't listen to his own episode.
No, probably not. Which was a fun episode. Like he and Carlos were pretty cool.
It was pretty good. Pretty good.
So what got you? How long have you been playing? Not necessarily professionally, but just playing.
Oh,
what was your primary instrument that you first started playing? Because you're a multi-instrumentalist.
Correct.
Guitar, you do a little bass here and there, some drumming.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good question.
Not only that, a kick-ass vocalist.
Thank you so much. I tend to tell long stories.
That's okay. We're good with stories.
I'm going to try to do the truncated version a little bit.
Well, I got plenty of whiskey if your throat starts.
Yes.
I just went to. We went to.
I see the whiskey over here.
Yeah, we went to Costco today, and I got the Costco size bullet rye.
It is a big bullet.
It's a big ass bottle.
That's a big bottle.
I'd actually taken the kid yesterday, and I don't know if you care to talk about it later. But we went to go see the new Lego movie.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, 2 weeks early, and we went to go to Studio Movie Grill.
Oh, okay.
In Wheaton. I don't know if you're familiar. It's one of those where
they give you everything, food and all the whole.
Yeah,
thing.
You got a bar, and then they bring you food to your table. I had a whiskey at the bar. It was Pendleton whiskey.
Whoa.
The greatest.
Wow. Yeah, I've had some of that before.
Oh, that's so good. And I'm like, where can I find this? And I'm sure I'm gonna find it, and it's gonna be like $80 a bottle.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap, but
it's not Bullet.
It's not Bullet, but it's can. I think Benny's carries it, but I had it at a bar, actually in Logan Square for the first time, and I was like, okay, I get it. This is really good.
Oh my God, it's like, what did I describe? I described it to my buddy Matt. I'm like, it tastes like vanilla maple syrup. What I had.
That's a good description.
Yeah, at very, very high. So I'm sorry, I digress.
No, it's cool.
Back to your where you began. Who do you think you are?
Well, those are different questions. So the short version is that my mom was a professional singer in an a cappella group.
Really?
Actually. Yeah. They were called the Jongleurs, and they were a madrigal group that kind of started out of the Ren Fair because my parents were Rennies. They were actors up there.
That's awesome.
Yes, this is true story. It's all there. And so they were a singing group at the fair, but then they also started doing records around Chicagoland. They would sing a lot at Christmas, like at Macy's and that sort of thing. So my very early childhood was like literally, sitting playing with stuff on my floor and like the 5-part harmony that I came in rehearsal right next to me, So it was very much just
in the blood.
It was it was around me a lot. And for a big chunk of my childhood, I wasn't thinking I'm going to be a musician. I was just singing and just doing it.
Sure.
And doing theater. My sister's an actress, and we both kind of came up in the whole same thing. And then, I never had lessons, which is funny because now I'm a music teacher. I didn't have any lessons when I was a kid, but I just had to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And, my first instrument outside of all the singing was actually a banjo, of all things.
Really?
Yeah. It was the show Doug on Nickelodeon, if you remember Doug back in the day. And that like the Kermit thing from
good old Doug Funny.
Yes. Which is funny because like I'm from Zion, Illinois, and Zion's where Local H is from, and like some other bands.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Midwest up here is that, especially up there, is like there weren't any banjo players or instructors. So I get this banjo, and I got a book, and I figured out some things. And then after about a year, like I'd be playing at campfires, and I think all the other guitar players were just annoyed, and they're like, "You should just like play guitar." And I was very naive and said, "Oh yeah, okay, cool." So then I played guitar and bass at the same time.
Well, I mean, a lot of times if you play guitar, you can pretty much make your way around a bass.
Yeah.
Like you might not have a lot of technique, which I think is that's the nuance of bass is it's the technique involved. Like you can play the notes and you can, lock sync with the drummer, but there's a lot of nuance in the technique, which I have never been able to master whatsoever.
And that's
because the first time I played with you, you actually were playing an upright.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
it
true.
Wasn't even it wasn't like, it wasn't like you were playing like a P bass or anything like that. It was straight up like honky, like
we had some honky tonk
upright
stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's funny. What got me into rock music, especially outside of my sister, because my sister I think is your age and another huge Pearl Jam fan, and like, so I'm like I was very much into vocal music,
sure,
like Bobby McFerrin, and all these like a cappella groups, and she was in the grunge movement, right? So she has all these CDs and tapes. She keeps trying to show me stuff, and finally it like clicked, right?
Yeah,
I was like 13, 14. I was like, oh, okay. And what got me even playing bass or guitar was I had a friend who was in a band. He was a drummer, and they had a guitar player. And I was like, I wanted to be the cool kid in a band.
Sure.
Because everybody wants to be in a band, And
for girls.
Exactly. For all
things. And then we all learn.
That
girls don't give a shit.
They really
until
really
you're
don't.
famous.
Yes. So, I was like, hey, I can sing. Like, I'm like jumping, like, I can sing. I can be a singer. And they're like, well, we actually need a bass player too. And I was like, well, I don't really know what a bass is. And literally my first time singing in this band, was they put a bass on me and they showed me like 3 notes and we were rolling.
Nice.
And out of all the instruments I've ever played, it's just come the most naturally. Like
really?
I love guitar. I love playing guitar. I love singing. I love everything, but like bass, it was never like super hard to figure out in the beginning. And and that's probably why I've stuck with it for so long and everything else. So so that's kind of that's kind of what launched it. You know, I did theater, and then I was playing in my high school band, and by the end of high school I was kind of like, this is, I think, what I want to do. And I laid the theater stuff down, and then I just went into, I was a voice major in college, but I was playing in like 3 or 4 bands, and the rest is history that not many people know about. So there you go.
Where did you go to school?
I went to a small school down in Palos Heights, Illinois, Trinity Christian College.
Oh, I've heard of Trinity.
Yeah, down like it's like, you know, the whole Southwest Cal-Sag River thing.
Yep.
It's like where all the soot from 294 lands.
Yeah,
that's the entire area. You went down there. You know, we ended up out in Aurora after a couple. You know, after we graduated, and that's how I got plugged in the whole Aurora scene.
Sure.
So, and again, you know, that's where we're at.
So you grew up in Zion.
Grew up in Zion.
Wow.
Illinois. Yes.
The community that was supposed to be a utopia.
Yep.
And if you go to Zion now, it's scary.
Yeah. Well. And that's probably some of that, like,
I guess it depends on which parts of
no,
Zion
it is
you
scary.
get to.
I mean, I have listen. They're not listening out there, but I mean, I have many good friends that are still in Zion.
Sure.
I never really go back there. I think there's a lot of like, it's a combination of, yes, you did your homework. This utopia, this guy Dowie came in, and he actually originally wanted to build the city in part of Chicago. He wanted to annex like the north part of Chicago, and they said no. So he went farther north and got this plot of land. And for those of you that had more time, Wikipedia that stuff, and you can learn more about it.
Well, I learned about it on WTTW.
Okay,
when
cool.
They did those Learn About the Suburbs.
Yep, exactly.
I can't remember the guy's name who does all of the documentaries.
Oh,
but
yeah, that's
oh God, what's his name? It's not Rick Steves.
No, but I know who it is because he actually did one on the Fox River Valley.
Yeah, it was all part of that whole thing. And all right, hello Google.
See, this is why we have our laptops in front of us, because we can get the name right, and it's on the tip of my tongue. Hold on a second. This is downtime while people are listening.
Yeah, right.
And, Geoffrey Bear.
Geoffrey Bear.
There it is. Yep.
He writes all these he does all these amazing documentaries about all of the western suburbs and, you know, this part area.
I love it. I've watched them all. I know.
But that's how I learned about Zion was from that. Yeah.
Well, so yeah, and
that, and I've worked in Zion a few times.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
They finally just I'm kind of bouncing here, but like, so we had a nuclear power plant there when I was a kid, and they shut it down many years ago, but they finally filled it with concrete and disassembled it.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah. I just saw that the other day.
I didn't realize that they had a plant up there.
Yep, and that
the
was
only one in the area that I knew of was in Byron, which is on the northwest.
They had one there, and that was a big. It brought in a lot of money, but then when it shut down, it also you know, I think it shut down when I was in high school, and we had, you know, we were about to lose all the arts and stuff. We had to do all sorts of fundraising. So, Zion is it's an interesting place. You know, we all grew up there. There's not a lot of money in Zion. We kind of all got hit hard.
No, it's a real depressed community.
You know, Zion, Waukegan, Beach Park, that whole thing, and I think maybe because there's that weirdness of this guy that thought he was the second coming of Elijah, literally came into town and had all these weird rules. I think the strains of that are still in the town.
Really?
You know, just in weird ways.
Sure.
Maybe even with outside people coming in that don't know anything about it, don't care. Right. So yeah. Zion, that was there my whole life up until I came down to the southwest side.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And you're in Logan Square now.
I am. Yeah, so I've been in the city for a few years. I lived in Wicker Park for a couple years. Love Wicker Park.
I was just gonna say I'm sorry.
Oh, come on now, no. But see, it depends. It
depends on what I guess for it depends on what your intent is in the city. If you're going to be in the midst of it all, Wicker Park is the place to be.
Yeah. And I actually had a conversation with my good friend Mike about this. Mike, he does all my video work, and I think now he lives in Lombard. We went to college together, and he's mostly bounced around the western suburbs.
Sure.
And he came into the city to do a shoot, and he was like, I could never live here. This is not my scene. And I think it really is why, what are you looking for in where you live? And for me, the biggest allure for downtown Aurora for me was I could walk and see people and see things and go to shops, and it was a very small version of that.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's why I live in the city to be, so I can like throw a rock and hit anything I want.
Sure.
And then go to any bar or coffee shop. And Wicker Park, it's small. It's one of the smaller neighborhoods too, so it's very walkable. And I don't know, I had all my spots there. So
yeah, for sure.
Logan Square is really cool. It's a little bit bigger. It's a little more spread out.
See, Logan Square is a lot different now than it was 10 years ago when I lived there. Because when I lived there, like, it was kind of emerging. They had a weird sushi place and a Starbucks.
Right, yeah.
You know, and Cafe Luna.
Cafe Luna's still there.
It's still there. Awesome. Awesome. But yeah, and that was about it. You know, I mean, it was a beautiful area still. Like, but now, like, Revolution's there. Revolution Brewery.
Yep. I think Maplewood is there. I think, maybe Dovetail. Don't quote me on that. We'll look it up later.
And then you've got the Chicago Diner there now.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's really, like, it's emerged.
Yeah.
Sadly enough, it's also gentrified to hell.
I think
to a point, I think there's one street, like, I think Central Park.
Yep.
Like, anything west of Central Park is still largely, like, Hispanic, and you don't want to go there because Latin Kings are there.
That's like on my jogging route because I live right off of Kimball and I jog west.
Yeah.
I go and this is going to sound strange. I grew up in Zion, and Zion had some shady parts of town, just like there's shady parts of any town.
Every town, yeah.
But I'm drawn to those places for whatever reason. Like when I lived in Wicker Park, I was basically in Humboldt Park.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like on the west side, and there's something about those areas that it's like, I don't know.
It's where things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
And you're right. I mean, there's all sorts of really good articles right now, but it has been gentrified because when I first moved to Wicker Park, I was going to be like getting into an apartment with a gentleman who had been there for like 10, 15 years.
Sure.
And he was kind of saying how all the hipsters had moved to Logan Square, right?
Right.
And now you see like the culmination of all that you see in the restaurants. They're building condos.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's how it goes. And it's kind of sad, but I don't know. It's interesting to see where it goes, and for me, I'm still getting acclimated to it, I guess. But but it is, you know.
But you got the theater right there behind you. There's that Lowe's theater right there.
Right.
I think it's our AMC or Lowe's.
Yep.
Now, have you been to the barbecue stop that's right there?
I have not been to the barbecue stop. That's going on my list.
See, when I was there, it was called Fat Willie's Rib Shack.
Okay.
I guess they've changed the name since then, but dude, it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was probably to find good barbecue in Chicago is tough.
Yeah, that's hard.
Unless you're going to, like, if you know where to go on the south side.
And I have not been to a lot of spots.
I do not know where to go on the south side.
We had
anymore.
The place in Wicker, which is escaping me right now, on Division, was really good. And but I'll go check out the barbecue spot.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's the same people or at least somebody who worked there once before, but dude, we used to go there a lot. And then where was it? I want to say on California. There's a place called Philly's Best.
Okay, cool.
And it was a Philly steak shop. And fantastic Philly cheesesteaks.
Man, yeah, I'm writing them all down. We'll see if they're still there.
And a friend of mine is from Philly.
Okay.
And she used to work with me at the place that I do not speak of.
I see.
Yeah, I
we have those places. We all have those places.
Yeah, not that I'm ashamed of where I work, nor am I, I love my job and I love the people I work for.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
just for what this podcast is, I cannot talk about that because the two worlds collide and I just don't want any conflict.
Exactly. It's how it goes.
But she came out to the city when I was living out there, and we went to go see the Roots.
Oh, cool.
They were at the Chicago Theater.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God, dude, it was amazing.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And came back and we ordered Philly's Best, and she's like, "This is the best cheesesteak I've had since leaving Philly."
Wow.
Yeah. You got to get it with the Cheese Whiz.
Amazing.
Cheese Whiz, dude.
I think when I was in Philly, I didn't have cheesesteak, and that's like a cardinal sin, but it was like I was there for like half a day, so.
But nonetheless, it's like coming to Chicago and not having a hot dog or a deep dish pizza.
I know, it's the thing to do.
Or a Polish sausage, for that matter.
Exactly.
So.
Oh, man. That was actually one of the things I was going to add that I thought was interesting. You brought up the Roots show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know when we had this conversation. We may this conversation may have never happened, but talking about like what are your top concerts you've been to of all time?
Oh God.
And that got me thinking because I'm like, That's a really, and you've been to a lot of shows.
A ton of shows.
And the people that listen to this podcast know you've been to some shows.
I've been to a few
You can
shows.
watch your feed and you know you go to shows.
Well, you could listen to any episode and be like, I saw them. I saw them. Oh, yeah, I went to that show. I saw them. You know?
And I
always feel like a douche now because of it. I feel like,
No, because those are experiences you had.
Sure.
But it was interesting because, so for whatever reason, this year, I think I saw, it's gone into 2019, into January, but
Sure.
like, the most shows I've seen in a long time.
Really?
And it got me thinking about, like, wow, like, what are some of my favorite shows I ever went to? So I thought it'd be an interesting question.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So
I'll start.
go ahead and
I'm gonna
start.
jump in because I have my notes.
You've got your notes.
No, it's good.
And I'll take it on the fly because that's how I roll.
Man, it's really hard to quantize. My mom's gonna be
Quantify,
really,
that's
thank
the
you.
right way to-
She's a spelling word.
Grammar
She's
Nazi.
Yes, she is, and she reads a lot, and she'll get me on that one. I'm gonna go like in chronological order. I'm gonna go
Sure.
backwards. So this is weird because you can't totally count it, but I count like 3. I followed this band over the course of like a month where they hit 3 different places, and they were
Really?
like at their peak. And it
Okay.
was this band that I listened to called Rubble Bucket. And
Rubble Bucket?
Rubble Bucket. They are an indie dance horn like band out of Brooklyn. And I heard one of their singles when I was jogging, like training, going up to the marathon, and that year before
Okay.
the marathon, I went to South by Southwest.
Sure.
And I was like, well, I'll just check out this band. If anybody's ever been to South by Southwest, there's music all day, everywhere, right? And so you can find bands that they might be like playing like 10 in the morning. And I think this was like this really unassuming 10 in the morning show in a barbecue place of all
Okay.
things or something. And I was not expecting to be blown away by how good they were.
Okay.
And then they played Lincoln Hall, and I followed them to that show on the way back.
All right.
And then they played Founders up in Michigan, and I saw them there. And it was like, it was just this time of like taking in this band at the peak of their whatever you might want to call it,
Sure.
prowess. So that's I'll give you one, you give me another one.
All right. So
that's-
Rumble Bucket?
they're called Rubble, like if there's-
Rebel.
No,
Rebel.
it's like rubble, like if like a brick wall fell down. And
Okay.
there's a lot of rubble.
All right.
Bucket. It's all one word. They actually have a new record out that came out at the end of last year. And I actually just saw them again at Bottom Lounge the night my car got broken
Jesus.
into.
Maybe you should stop seeing them.
Maybe that was a bad sign. That's why I said the first show.
I'll have to check them out. Are they on Apple Music? Do you
They're
know?
everywhere, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll definitely
Yeah.
check them out.
Yeah. So that's my first pick. Now you have to do a pick.
All
so I
right.
can
Yeah.
So I can clear my throat because everybody out there, I'm fighting a cold.
Yeah. We actually had to postpone. He was supposed to come over on Friday night.
Yeah, it was.
But he was
it
not
was really
feeling
bad.
so well.
Yeah.
But okay, first show I've ever been to, and probably I would definitely put it in my top 10.
See, we're all clearing it.
The first show that I ever went to.
Ever. This is like
Ever.
first ever.
So this is 1988. Michael Jackson on the Bad Tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like a kind of a hard, like, it's a really impressive like first show to
Oh,
go to.
dude, seriously. And it's funny too because my mom was always like, this concert here, this is gonna be the benchmark. You're gonna compare everything to this. She was not totally incorrect, but not totally correct either.
Right.
So, but still, it was a fantastic show. I mean, there were like, it was a show. There was costume changes. Like he
Wow.
did everything from the Jackson 5 all the way through up to the Bad album,
Man.
and that was the last time he ever played Chicago.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I mean, he never toured the States after
I guess that makes sense, yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, 'cause
That's
there was-
like mind-blowing.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I was 10.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and never got to see him again. But
Yeah.
I've got a photo album floating around here somewhere because my mom, and her ex Shar actually snuck in a camera, a 35 millimeter camera.
Yeah, and we're going back a little bit here.
Oh yeah. So like my mom carried the camera, she carried the lens, and I've got a bunch of blurry shots that were taken because lighting wasn't good enough, and
Sure, right.
you can't. So, but yeah, like he did like Thriller, came out with the wolf mask and everything, dude. It was badass.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's crazy.
Right?
Wow. I can't I don't think I can top Michael Jackson. I don't
It's not a competition.
Yeah, exactly. But again, as your listeners know, you've seen some shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. So you said you saw the Roots at Chicago Theater.
I did. I want to say it was on the Phrenology tour.
I hear because my friend Dan, who's a shout out to Dan Knighton out there. He's a very hip drummer. Like he follows the drummers that then become the drummers everybody knows about. So he's been like
big
following.
Questlove.
Yeah, Questlove, and like before Mark Juliana blew up, like he was giving me Mark Juliana tapes. He played for the.
Who was this dude?
Mark Juliana played on the Bowie record that before like.
Oh, Black Star.
Yeah,
he was like the jazz drummer.
He's the drummer. Yeah,
okay.
and his career was already pretty big in the jazz world, and then it like exploded. But it's interesting because I've as I was looking back at the shows I've seen, I think that like. Most of my favorite shows have been at the Chicago Theater, just because it is such
a beautiful theater.
It's beautiful, and it's like one of those places where you can have nosebleed way up in the top
Still
seats.
See a great show.
Yeah, and the sound is really good because I've seen shows on the floor.
Yeah,
and then I'm like recalling the shows I saw up higher. I'm like, I almost like the shows where I was up higher. You know?
Yeah.
So, two that I saw there that I really really liked. I saw Ben Folds play there.
Okay.
And not with the five. He was
solo.
It was solo. I think it was on the Songs for Silverman tour or something, and he's just like a force. Like Ben Folds is just like a force of nature.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so much energy. I recommend anybody. He does a lot of solo stuff now, but seeing him and actually the Glenn Hansard and Marketa Erglova tour before they became Swell Season. So they were the movie Once had just come out, and they were doing
a beautiful movie,
and they were doing a tour of the music, but they were just billing themselves as like Glenn Hansard and Marketa Erglova, and I think. That's at least in my 2 spot because it was like just incredible. The sound was incredible. He was an incredible singer. I mean, you can't top seeing shows at the Chicago Theater, really.
Right.
So,
yeah, I remember seeing Matthew Sweet there on the 100% Fun tour.
Oh my gosh, that's
with
awesome.
the Murmurs. If you remember the Murmurs,
I don't remember them well.
They did that song "You Suck."
Oh yeah,
yeah. So, but they opened up for him, and they were fantastic. And then he came out, and we were on the main level. Probably we were pretty far back. We were underneath the balcony.
Right.
There's not a bad seat in that house.
No, there really isn't.
Like Kirsten and I took the boys there 3 weeks ago to go see the Paw Patrol live.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was for the kids.
Yeah, we do it for the kids.
Yeah,
everybody.
and it was so cute because like Grayson got super like into it. And at the very end, as they were saying goodbye and, they were doing their curtain calls and stuff, like, they started playing all the music from the show, and Grayson went like, full-on Papa Costal.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, running up and down the aisles, dancing. He was having a blast. They were like, they had all these confetti streamers and shit going on. And Grayson just was having the time of his life. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. So, all right, so for me...
Yeah, now you go. It's a back and forth thing.
God damn, dude.
See, and this is the hardest thing. I know. I should have.
See, I'm the one that's hosting the show. You should have prepped me for.
I know. I came in and I was like, well, I have all these things I want to talk about, but most of them is me asking questions.
That's quite all right. That's how it goes. Quite all right. I've never been interviewed on my own show before.
Really? Okay.
So,
yeah. I mean, it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
It's your show.
It's something different.
It's different, and this is the hardest question. I always, whenever I talk to my students, about like if I'm in a first lesson, I'm like, well, what type of music do you like to listen to? Or what are some of your favorite songs? Or, make a list. It's always the same thing. They get put on the spot and they freeze up like deer in the headlights. Shout out to all the students out there.
So I'm grabbing.
Did you just grab like a stack of, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got a 4.5-inch thick.
This is actually really impressive, and I wish that your listening audience could see this because there's like, it's like every ticket from the past.
30 years, yeah.
From the past.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. Dude, okay, you know what? Here's one. Tori Amos at the Park West.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, let's see here.
What year was that?
1998.
Oh, my gosh.
April 30th of 1998. They didn't give us tickets.
What is that? It's like a lanyard over here.
It's not even a lanyard.
It's like
somebody made those and handed those out to us as we were walking. We had to wait in line at the Park West to get tickets.
Wow, man. This is cool. On that tour, I hate when people name drop stuff, and I'm only saying this because it's relevant. She played oh wait, it's not relevant because it's in the wrong city. Never mind.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say she played the Roxy. I played the Roxy in L.A., but she played.
You played the Roxy in L.A.?
I did.
Did you really?
I did, but she played the Roxy in Atlanta.
There's a Roxy in Atlanta.
Apparently, there's. Man, do you remember who was playing with her on that tour?
She was solo.
It was a solo show.
It was a solo night. Yeah, because we saw her. We saw her 3 times on the Choir Girl Hotel tour. It was this one,
gosh.
and then we saw her at Rosemont.
Wow.
And then we saw her at the Field House up at Northwestern. And it was amazing. It was just one of those shows where, like, it was her with a full band. Like, she didn't do, it wasn't a solo piano tour like she's known to do.
Right, exactly.
But, dude, it was a fucking amazing show, especially to be just, like, as far away from her as I am to that Spider-Man bank over there.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You're next, son.
That's me. I'm up. And I have my list because I came prepared with the notes. One of the other shows I really liked is I saw Fiona Apple. I've seen Fiona Apple a couple times. I actually saw her at the Chicago Theater. Later, it was on her. It was like a later tour. But this, I believe. Oh man, I'm trying to do the math. It had to have been the Extraordinary Machine tour.
Ooh.
And she played at, I think it was Northerly Island. They might call Northerly Island.
It's Northerly Island.
Is it still the same name?
Yeah.
So it was outside. It was a summer show. She had Damien Rice open for her on that.
Really?
And I don't think he ever plays the States, like, ever.
Really?
And Damien Rice, so a lot of these shows, if you've ever gone to, like, a really good show, like, it could just be that the headliner's really great, and that's the reason that you love the show. But, like, Damien Rice and his band were crazy good. And,
really?
Fiona Apple, you know, she has had a very troubled...
Yes.
Yes, and that came across... And I remember vividly, like, she was on stage and she started, like, shouting off mic, and then she went into the fetal position behind the piano while the band played for, like, 10 minutes. And she was very awkward. But, I mean, Fiona Apple is a phenom and a force.
Oh, she's amazing.
And her voice, I actually saw her, oh, my gosh, I was seeing Blake Mills, this guitar player, in Chicago at a tiny theater. I don't remember what it was. It was a couple years ago with my friend Jessica Robbins, shout out. And,
sure.
And Fiona Apple walks out on the stage because, like, he had done a single with her, and her voice is still, like, just pristine condition. Like, you can't top it. So anyway,
she was on. They did a tribute to Chris Cornell.
I saw that
recently, she was one of the performers. Was it the live stream that was on YouTube or something?
I only read, like, an article that, like, I think it was like Stereo Gum or somebody, like, they did like a review of it, and they showed Miley Cyrus did a song, and everybody was
she did Say Hello to Heaven,
and they said it was crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah, and
she's all kinds of crazy nuts, but
Miley Cyrus can sing. She's a good singer.
She's an amazing artist.
Maybe in that same vein or something. I don't know.
Right.
As Ruben sorts through his cajillion tickets that are, you can tell they're old because they're all like sponsored by Dominic's,
right? Or they're faded. They're like blue, like the old school blue tickets.
Oh my gosh!
I'm trying to find like that piece de resistance, if you will. Oh, yeah, that's definitely going in my top 10.
Nice. See, now you're going to be on a journey.
I'm already on a journey.
You're like going to be down here, and you're going to be sorting through your tickets, trying to find the golden ticket. Then
I got to talk about one of the worst concerts I've ever been to.
See, that's a whole other strain for like another show. But yes, we could do the worst show ever.
I'll just top off one.
Yes.
So. But yeah, all right. So it's on me now.
It's on you. It's your time.
Oh, Black Crowes.
Oh wow. Where'd you see the Black Crowes at?
The Aragon Ballroom.
Okay.
Valentine's Day, 1999.
Wow.
On the By Your Side tour.
Oh, my gosh.
Fucking incredible.
They are so good.
And that was the only time I've ever seen them. And
really?
They tore the house down that night.
I bet.
Dude, they were incredible.
Man.
And I don't even remember who the opening act was.
You probably that's one of the reasons you don't remember, maybe because they tore it up so much.
Then I'm looking at all the times that I've seen Soul Asylum.
How many times have you seen Soul Asylum?
Like 5. I've seen Soul Asylum like 5 times. I saw him at the Double Door. I've seen him at the Metro.
Oh my gosh.
I saw him at probably at a Lollapalooza type festival. I saw him after the Soldier Field 10-mile race. They were the band, the entertainment after the race.
Oh my gosh!
And this was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. 3-4 years ago. And then I saw them at Otto's out in DeKalb.
Okay. Oh my gosh! I remember Otto's.
Yeah, they tore the place
down.
R.I.P.
to Otto's. I played at Otto's.
I played that Otto's as well.
I'm sure. And that's sad. The only thing they have out there now, I think, is the
house.
Yeah, the House Cafe, which still like brings in. They've like shut down and opened up and shut down and opened up. This is a funny story. Again, I'm really not trying to name drop here. And your listeners might not even know this band. They're kind of a pretty big indie band, and I'm blanking now because I'm about to tell the story. So you tell something else. You talk about another story, and we'll go. No, actually, I'll come back to that one. Because we're doing best shows of all time.
Best shows of all time.
And I gotta say, and it's still I'm shocked at myself in a little bit for saying this, but it was Sarah McLaughlin at the United Center.
Okay.
And it was basically a perfect show. Like
sure.
She sang for like 3 hours. Her band was incredible.
Oh yeah, she's
the
amazing
sound.
live.
Now I've seen a lot of shows at the United Center, and it's kind of hit or miss. I saw Paul McCartney at the United Center.
Did you really?
Great show.
Oh, you lucky bastard.
I mean, he's like an honorable mention. Like he could probably make the list because it's Paul McCartney.
Just he's Paul McCartney, yeah.
And talk about like live bands. I mean, his band. First of all, he goes in his shows, for anybody who's seen him, it's basically the same show that he's been doing for like 5 or 6 years, but
yeah.
He, either because he's a robot or because he's a vegetarian, like he doesn't stop moving for 3 hours. He bounces from instrument to instrument. I don't think I saw him take a water break. And his band, they're all 20 years younger than him,
at least.
And they're like just keeping up, even though they're like some of the baddest players around.
Yeah.
That was a really good show too. But like, so United Center, sometimes you see a good show, sometimes the sound is terrible because it's still an arena. And I think I was, and this is something that's true about like any musician friends out there, is that like you're only good sometimes as good as your sound is.
Sure.
And the live sound and the mix was so good.
Mm-hmm.
That might be why it's one of my favorite shows.
Nice.
Outside of the fact that like, she's an incredible singer and the songs were great and everything else, but
sure.
It was magical. What can you say?
It's like when I saw Sheryl Crow at the Riviera.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, that was pretty badass.
I'm sure you saw like a lot of the like the 90s into the 2000s like singer-songwriter like, monsters.
I saw a ton of stuff. Ooh, that's a good one.
He's literally here sifting through
tickets.
Hundreds and hundreds of concert tickets.
Oh, okay. I just passed by one. Radiohead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
At the Rosemont Theater.
Okay.
On the OK Computer tour.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Played every song on OK Computer with the exception of Electioneering.
Wow.
And did sparse, some stuff from the Bends and very little off of Pablo Honey.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing. Absolutely an amazing show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Wow. We could this could be the show for like 5 hours.
Oh yeah.
This is
why not? Fuck them.
It's gonna
I got
go
storage
late.
space. It's fine.
It's gonna go late.
Yeah, here's that Roots sticker right here.
Oh, you got it right there.
Yeah. Oh, this was a fun show.
I
wouldn't say it was in my top 10, but it was a fun. Weezer with Foo Fighters.
Yes. Wait a second. What theater was that?
That was at the.
We were at that
Allstate.
show. I was at the show with you.
Yeah.
Wait, we talked about this. What year was that?
05.
05? Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay. We were at that show together.
There we go.
Because that's it. And all of the worlds collide. Everybody.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was
actually,
okay.
You know what? I take it back. I've seen the Black Crowes twice. I saw them again on May 8th of '99 with Lenny Kravitz at the Rosemont.
So the Foo Fighters Weezer show
was the
loudest show I've ever been to in my life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, and I came up, I played in a metal band. I've seen metal bands at Cornerstone. I've been in pits.
Now, let's face it, a metal band at Cornerstone.
But they had, here's the thing. If you're a metal guy, there was like this like period of time in the late 90s, early 2000s where they were like king. And actually, it's funny because I had a friend I met at a bar. She quizzed me on it 'cause she's like a metalhead. She's like, "Are you into Haste of the Day?" And I'm like, "I know who Haste of the Day is." She's like, "What?" And it was like crazy. But anyway, yes, that Weezer Foo Fighters show was so loud.
Dude, it was ridiculous.
It blew your head off.
Yeah, it was.
That is an example of that not being a great venue to begin with for sound.
No, but it was
then, like,
fucking loud. There's no other way to explain it.
We
was
were
just
up in the
fucking loud.
Like if the stage is, we were like on the far end of the stage, like up, like just getting blasted with sound the whole time.
Yeah, it was crazy loud.
That was a good show. I like that one.
Yeah. All right, is it my turn or your turn?
I think we went through our top 5. I think we already did it. But
that's top 5 already.
I know it's already there, but you can do like you could do top 100.
Beastie Boys.
That's amazing. That's great.
At the Riviera.
Oh man.
It was on their gala event tour, which was after Five Boroughs, but before Hot Sauce Committee. It was when they were touring on their instrumental album. What was it called? The Mix Up.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it was an instrumental only show. So they were actually like, not instrumental in the sense of the music. It was only music, but instrumental in the sense that they played their own instruments through the entire show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they asked all of their concert goers to dress up.
What?
Yeah, because they wanted to make it something special.
Wow.
And then I saw them the next night at Northerly Island just doing a regular show, and it was the last time they ever played Chicago.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. There's so many of these bands that, like, you know, because as members of bands pass away, or even, you know, as the singer of a band passes away, it's like you think, like, there's a lot that I'm like, oh, my gosh, I wish I would have seen ... And I've passed on a lot of shows that I should have gone to.
Oh, we all have.
And that's just how it goes. But
this was a good one. Them Crooked Vultures at the Aragon Ballroom.
I got Ruben started on this really, like, this spiral of...
Dude, seriously. Them Crooked Vultures is Josh Homme.
Yep.
From, well, you know, but people out there might not.
Oh, sure, right.
Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age.
Yep.
Dave Grohl on drums.
Yep.
And John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin playing every fucking thing
else.
Because
he can.
Because he can. Like, he came out and he played a guitar, for Christ's sakes.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah. Ooh, Casting Crowns. I saw them.
I've also seen Casting Crowns.
Yeah. Rosemont Horizon. Oh. 98, yeah. It's Beastie Boys. I've seen the Beastie Boys a bunch of times. Elton John, Billy Joel.
See, that's one that I don't know if they're going to do it again. You know, they've done the dueling show.
Yeah.
Do they do that at Soldier Field or Wrigley or?
No, it was at Rosemont.
Oh, it was, okay.
Yeah, and my mom and I both took mushrooms before we saw the show. It was fantastic.
All right then.
Yeah.
Well, there you
go. Because that's how we used to roll at the household.
Exactly.
But yeah, we saw them. That was a great show. Jane's Addiction at the Aragon Ballroom when they did the reunion tour. Smashing Pumpkins as a secret opening act.
Man. So now remind me, did you see, I'm taking you away from your tickets, but you saw, did you see Pearl Jam when they came through this last time at Wrigley?
I was at the first night.
Okay. My sister was at the second. Actually, she was at both nights because she had tickets to both.
Nice.
And I totally, sorry out there to my sister, but I totally bailed on her because I was like sick and it was rain. It was like pouring.
Yeah, it rained real bad that second
And
night.
then, but she said, so this shows you how much, like, you know, a Pearl Jam fan she is. She's like, no, I'll probably skip this one. I saw them the other night, and she still went and got poured on and saw them again.
And it was an amazing show the second night, from what I've heard.
Yeah, she said it was awesome.
Like they did, like my buddy Bob was just in 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and we were talking about it because he went that second night, and you know they pulled out some weird shit that second night.
She said it was some deep cut stuff.
Oh, very, very deep cut stuff. Like they did a song called "Evil Little Goat" that was like a B-side of a B-side.
Wow.
You know, like it had never been released prior to that.
I saw.
Have you ever seen Pearl Jam live?
No. See, this is why I'm a bad brother, because my sister, you know, she's in the fan club. She gets all the tickets all the time. Sees them every time they come to town. I did go to see Eddie Vedder solo with her.
Did you know?
I did and that was at the Chase Bank Auditorium Theater. Is that right? It's in the Loop, I think. And this was, I remember, it was right when the Hawks won. It was one of the Hawks.
Okay.
It was either the first or the second Hawks win because one of the guys was there with the trophy.
Okay.
And it was just him. It was like just him and an acoustic guitar. And and it was good. He was really captivating. He had good stories.
He's got hella stage presence.
Yeah, I mean he's got a voice. Like it was fun. I liked it a lot. So,
nice.
but yeah, on the bucket list, and she's gonna get me to one eventually, and I won't bail.
If all the rumors are true, they're going to be dropping an album at some point this year and touring. So.
Well, there you go, and I'll make sure that I'm at this next.
I just hope that they play a venue that's not Wrigley Field. Like
Wrigley
was a cool ass venue to see him at, but like it was so limited as, I mean, it was a bitch trying to get tickets.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
if I hadn't joined the fan club again,
right.
No way in hell I would have gotten tickets.
Exactly, yeah. And just Wrigley in general, for all of my Chicago friends, like even those that love it, like it is the worst. It's one of the worst neighborhoods to maneuver around in, parking or driving or anything. It's just a nightmare.
Spot Hero, baby.
I know. I need to get on that.
I did a Spot Hero, got parking for like $18, had to walk like 3/4 of a mile.
Wow.
Yeah, I was right on Southport.
Yeah. There you go.
So
that's it. I know that's the new hip thing.
Yeah, dude, it works.
It works.
Anytime I go to the city now, Spot Hero.
So have you seen any, like, any good shows lately? Like, or have you been actively going to concerts the past year?
Dude, I got kids, man. We don't go to shows. Like, I saw Foo Fighters and Pearl Jam last year in Haim.
Oh, okay, cool.
Haim was amazing.
Their record, now that it didn't come out this last year. I think it came out the year before, but really,
when did Something to Tell You come out? I think it came out in 2018, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Or maybe the record came out in 18. See, because here's how I listen to music mostly through Spotify and through podcasts, and we're back to a single time in our musical history, like where like singles are the thing, and a single on a record might come out like a year before the record comes out.
Wow,
right?
Something to Tell You actually came out July of 2017.
I was correct.
You were right, sir.
To your listening audience, I'm really out of date with like most pop culture, TV, movies, pop news,
so on and so forth.
But indie music, I'm usually at least like I can keep up with it a little bit. But Haim is
oh god,
man, they're good, man.
Dude, that last album was amazing.
They had some really good moments. It was really well produced.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. Everybody out there, check out Haim. Haim.
Like Corey Haim.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, but I actually just got both of their albums on vinyl.
Really?
And both of them are double albums mastered at 45.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
180 gram vinyl, but yeah, you got to switch the old record player to 45 speed to get it to play.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But Haim was amazing live. I mean, it was the three of them and a drummer. I think they had a keyboard player as well.
Yeah, their music would lend itself to being like you could get away with that.
But you know what though? Like on album, they're very poppy.
Yes.
Live, it's a rock show.
It's like a show.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
They're excellent live. But yeah, really, those are the only 3 shows I went to last year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then we went to Hamilton in December.
And that's on the list, and I still haven't. And again, my theater friends especially, but really all my friends and you, because we've had this conversation, I think, are kicking me because I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it twice already.
I know, and I have really no good excuses.
And in all fairness, though, the first time I saw it was 2 years ago, and I was on the phone for hours getting tickets.
Wow.
This last time, though, there's an app you can download for your phone, and you can enter a lottery to win $10 tickets.
Oh, okay.
And we won $10 tickets.
And you got in.
$20, second row, stage right.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's that time in the show where I'm going to take you up on your offer for the whiskey or the bourbon because to clear up my very sick throat here, it's the I sound great, I swear. We're very professional. And I'm going to stop taking over your show. You can
no,
you can
man.
go from there.
Perfectly fine.
See, this fulfills my dream. I was actually I did radio in when I was in speech team when I was in high school. I trained on it, and I always wanted to do radio as a side career. Cheers, thank you, friend. But I just never salute. But that's not the way the cards rolled out, and now I'm Ruben has these really fancy boom arms for his microphones, and I'm like I should do a podcast too. That's not gonna happen.
It's easy to do a podcast. You get a microphone and a mixing board, which I know you have now.
True story.
And you download Audacity or GarageBand or whatever you choose.
I have all of my DAWs. That's true.
Yeah. So it really the most complicated part is getting it posted to a site.
Right. Exactly. And you're everywhere, right? For anybody that's listening.
Anything.
For the first time?
Anything. We're on everything. We're on. Obviously, we're on whatever you're listening to us on right now. But you can find us on Spotify. We're on. Shit.
See, that's actually
Spotify is crazy now that you.
So here's the thing. I am again. This is a whole nother conversation for another time because there's a debate about Spotify and working musicians.
Right. And or Apple Music and working musicians. Any type of streaming service.
When I got into Spotify Premium, Spotify in general, I was jogging a lot, and I did not have anything. I had I think I had my old iPod, or I had my phone, and I was YouTubing full albums to listen to on these long runs. I'm like, this is just disgusting. Right. And so I finally pulled the trigger, and I will say there are some really bad downsides to Spotify for working musicians because we're still just not making any money.
Right.
But the availability to find any music you want anywhere and listen to anything, it's just a game changer, and it exposes, I think, more in a way, it exposes people to music they never would have heard of before.
Sure. And my idea of it is, if I find something on a streaming service and I like it, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know if you saw the CD collection that was out there.
I did. It reminded me.
It's ridiculous.
That ages a little bit because I'm like, yep, I had stacks like that.
Oh, I still do.
You still do.
And now I'm just like, now I'm totally hipster about it. I'm like, well, buy the vinyl.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know what it is. It's being a conscious listener and being a conscious music consumer, and those of us that like, I mean, you're really into music. That's what's going to happen. You listen to something new, and I will. If I heard this happen last year. I found this band called The Collection. It was a single that came through on one of the Discover weeklies or whatever, and I was like, "What is this?" And they were coming to town. They played the Beat Kitchen, which, if you know, the Beat Kitchen's tiny
bar.
Yeah, and it was one of the best shows I've seen all year.
Yeah.
Blew me away. And then I will now see them every time they come to town. I will buy their records. Like,
right.
That's what it is.
That's how I found out about Haim.
There you go. Right.
They remember when Starbucks used to give away the free downloads?
They might still do, but
they don't because their Starbucks is now linked up with Spotify.
Oh, okay. They got rid of. They had a label for like a minute, and they probably don't anymore. Yeah.
But Starbucks actually had a little card, and it was a song called "Honey and I" from Haim's first album.
There you
go. What was the first album? Days Are Gone.
There you go.
So I downloaded it, and like it was nothing I'd ever heard before. Like it was just, you know, it's just a funky, weird kind of song at the beginning, and then like these '80s drums just kind of kick in, and it sounds like something you would hear at the end of like a John Hughes movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that whole first album could have like been a soundtrack for a John Hughes movie, and I instantly fell in love with them.
There you go. And you know, so the podcasting side though is something I have not gotten into on Spotify. I mean, I still just like do podcasts through iTunes or whatever.
As do I.
You know, because that's what I came up with.
Yeah, but I mean, I also did Stitcher for a while as well.
Cool.
You know, but because there are some stuff that's exclusive to Stitcher and blah blah blah. I'm a whore. I'm everywhere. You know, but I like if it's out. If someone can find it, I want them to listen to it. You know, but yeah, we're on Stitcher. We're on Google Play, Apple Music. You know, or Apple Podcasts now or whatever. So we're, you know, I keep saying we're. I am, you know, my podcast
say we. That's better. It's more professional that way. You're good.
Yes, we are everywhere.
That's what you always say.
Any place where you can get your podcasting needs, we are there.
This is where you plug the name of the show and the
yes,
URL.
We
and
are
all
a
that
podcast
stuff.
that you're already listening to. So
you somehow found us,
right? Somebody's streaming this somewhere, playing it onto something.
Yes, exactly. This is quite good. I don't know what I'm drinking here, but this is nice.
This is Bullet Rye.
Oh, it's the rye. I should have known. And see, you have these very fancy. I usually go.
Oh no! You know what?
It's the bourbon select.
I fucked up. It's the bourbon.
I
usually buy the rye.
It's okay. It's tasty. That's all right. And you have these he has these very fancy. Like their glasses with ice already in them.
Yes, the missus got these for me for Christmas.
This is quite nice.
But I will say though, like I do like the ice for the little dilution.
So here's the thing, I'm a neat guy when I drink whiskey or bourbon.
See, I'm a rocks guy.
You are, and I would actually say most of my friends that are, you know, connoisseurs of this sort of thing are rocks people. Even like the guys that mix that I know, they like the rocks. I don't know why. I think it's probably falls into the whole like I like black coffee. I like dark wine.
Let's just
I
not
like
put shit
dark
in
beers. You know, just give me the thing. I don't know. But that's good.
Yeah, no, and it's Bullet is pretty. Like I'm not very well versed in the whiskey sphere.
I am not. I am not either at all.
I enjoy whiskey. Like it took me a long time. It took me 40 years to get to this point.
Really?
Yeah, I was never a big whiskey drinker.
Really?
At
Okay.
all. But over the course of the last year and a half, I'm like really like, oh, let me try this. Yeah. You know, and like I said, I tried that Pendleton yesterday.
Yes.
Oh my God, dude, that was so good.
There's another new distillery. Well,
there's one out in DeKalb.
There is one in DeKalb. I don't know the name. I can't remember the name of that one.
Yeah, neither.
One that you should check out, though, I think they're based in Evanston.
Okay.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's called Few, or it's either Few or FEW.
Okay.
That stuff is like, it's like Pendleton, like
really?
Quality. And they do gin, and they do bourbon.
Nice.
They do all of it. So just scope them out. Few out there. I'm
nice.
giving them a plug that they didn't ask for. I don't get paid for this.
We don't get paid for it either.
We don't get paid for anything. I don't. Right. You know, that's how it goes.
We're not Frank Zappa. I mean, we would be in it for the money, but so.
Oh my gosh! I also had this very good Sleepy Dog Brewing Wet Snout Peanut Butter Stout. It's a really good. It's good for the vocalizing. We do these vocalizing things.
Mm-hmm.
Snout Stout is a really good one to say back and forth.
Is it?
Yep, that'll get your tongue moving. That was really good too. So
I just like Taco Cat because if you say it backwards, it's Taco Cat.
That's that's true. That's true.
Oh God, I'm an idiot.
No, you're good.
So,
well, thanks for thanks for having me along here so far. This has been fun.
Yeah,
so
dude.
Far.
So,
yeah.
what is the? I know you say you're kind of behind the times, but what is the best movie you've seen in the last year?
See now you're putting on your interviewer voice
in the world,
and this shows you how out of touch I am. I don't even know if I've seen a movie in the past year.
Really?
I stopped watching.
It doesn't even have to be new.
I stopped watching TV and movies about like 4.5, 5 years ago. I just got out of it.
Well, you're so busy.
Well, I'm busy, and like I don't know. I still we'll get there eventually. I'm trying to think of like the best movie I've seen recently, but honestly, I've been to the theater once in 5 years now.
Really?
Once.
Wow.
And I haven't.
And
what
was it that you saw?
That was it was a terrible movie too. Talk about it was no, it wasn't like the worst ever, but it was one of those who's that romantic like he does
the Nicholas Sparks?
It was a Nicholas Sparks movie. It was a
You went on a date.
I did go on a date. It was a date movie, and it was Nicholas Sparks, and it was like he's like a rodeo, like he rides it was called like The Longest Ride or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was literally the last movie I saw in the theater.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna have to. So you might have to give me some like recommendations.
Oh Jesus, dude! You need to see Get Out. Like, well, what kind of movie?
Well,
like,
so
if
here's
you're
the
gonna
thing.
sit down and watch a movie, what would you like to watch?
This is the interesting thing. I think it's a mental thing. I have to just jump back in because when I was a kid, my dad was like a U.S. history buff and a film buff. Like I came up on all the old silent movies, comedies, all that stuff.
Ooh.
And so I watched a ton of movies before, and I've just been really out of the game. So Get Out was on my list.
Dude, Get Out is amazing.
There were a few. The Gary Oldman. I know it's like it's an Oscar grab.
Which was a Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy?
No, it was the one where he played Woodrow Wilson. He won the Oscar for it last year, I think. What is that called? See, we have the interwebs. We can.
I'm on IMDb.
Right. He won The Darkest Hour. There it is.
The Darkest Hour. Yep. Yeah, I heard that was fantastic.
Yeah. So like whenever or what's it called, the Revenant or whatever that was.
The Revenant.
Thank you. Haven't seen that one.
No,
it wasn't worth the Oscar.
And you know what? I love a revenge movie. Yeah. I really love a revenge movie.
Oh wait, that sparked something. Okay, I did see a movie intermittently because my roommate was watching it on his laptop, and that's the last movie I saw. And it was a Tarantino. It was Tarantino's.
Was it The Hateful Eight?
Yes.
I hear that's amazing.
Well, either I'm really out of touch and I'm wrong, or it's not amazing because
really?
I was like, it was so.
It's a long movie.
Part of it is that it's so nihilistic, and I know that like Tarantino's thing sometimes is being nihilistic, but I think out of any movie he's ever done, it like pushes all those boundaries. So if you're really into that intense, like there is no God, that's just all like bullshit sort of thing, you're gonna like this movie. And there's like it's shocking. There's shocking moments. The story arc is shocking. The acting is very like over the top, and Sam Jackson's in it, and he's like shooting people. And stuff,
because that's what Sam Jackson does.
But as somebody, I've actually, because he doesn't make a lot of films, I've seen most of his films.
Yeah.
I was like a little bit like, come on, like this is like really too much, So I actually recommend seeing it only if at anything else you can like compare it to other movies you've seen of his that were good.
Did you hear about what's his nuts? Kurt Russell's guffaw in that?
Yes, and I actually forgot about it because when it came out, like when that story broke, I wasn't, I didn't see the movie, and then I was watching, and I was like, oh, that's the whole thing about he like smashes his guitar. And the whole
it's
thing.
like $1,000 guitar.
It's it was probably worth more than
$1,000.
It was probably like an irreplaceable guitar.
It was absolutely irreplaceable.
He's not going to listen to this, but I had a conversation at the time because I was working with Kevin Trudeau.
Oh yeah,
yes, and Kevin Trudeau, very smart. You don't want to get in a conversation with Kevin Trudeau because he'll run circles around you.
Yes, he will.
And he was like, whatever, it's a guitar, it's an instrument, it's like a tool. It was going to sit in a museum anyway. It served its purpose. And I get what he's saying, but I also cry a little bit on the inside because as things age, we have less and less of those around. My main playing guitar is I inherited from my grandfather. It's a 1958 Epiphone Texan body, And first of all, it's the best guitar I've ever played. But like, I look at it and I say, like, it's just like there's not a lot of these around, you know, and you have to try to, even if you're playing them, even if they're serving their purpose, you have to just like respect them, you know. Jeez,
totally.
Like,
yeah, it was a Martin guitar that was on loan from the Martin Guitar Museum. It was It was from 1870. It was a 145-year-old guitar.
Yeah, wow.
And I don't think he was meant to smash it.
Well, so I think what was
or the part they were like supposed to have like a stunt
they were supposed
guitar.
to have like a prop guitar,
right?
And he didn't know, but I remember what's her name,
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
She knew, and so like her reaction in the movie
was
is
real.
Like,
oh shit, you just destroyed like a piece of history.
Guitar. Yeah, you know, that was another thing about the movie. And again, I have many more friends.
From what I hear, though, Jennifer Jason Leigh was at like an acting class.
Yeah,
she was amazing in the movie.
So some of the performances, Jennifer Jason Leigh especially, are like, okay, you're doing what you do, like this is great. And some of them are like, I mean, even like Kurt Russell, it's like I love Kurt Russell, but it was just it was one level. It was like the whole thing was like overdrive, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, because he was a bounty hunter or something.
Yeah,
like
the whole
that,
thing is. I don't even have to.
Yeah, because he dragged her along. I saw like the first. Because it's like a 3-hour movie, and I have it. Like,
if you're a fan of cinematography, like how it
was on 70 millimeter, he shot it on. It was beautiful.
It's shot very beautifully. I feel like, you know, the content was a little bit lacking, especially if you like have a soul. Like if you know, like if you care at all about people in any way, like this is pretty much like, well, it's all meaningless. That's what you take away at the end of it. It's all meaningless.
Yeah.
So
it's very.
So it's kind of sad that was the only movie I've seen in the past year. I saw. You know what? I did see some of the because I teach kids and because a lot of my friends are having kids right now.
Right.
I have like
because you're in your mid-30s, early to mid-30s.
I am 34 years old. Yes, and
it's about the time.
It's about the time, and you know, I've hung out. I've done like. You know, you go for a weekend, you see your friends in Michigan or downstate or whatever. And so I saw Frozen several times when it came out.
Yeah.
What's the one? Is it called Coco or something?
Coco. Oh, dude, Coco was beautiful.
Coco's a beautiful movie. They do some good ones out there.
Yeah.
You know, and
dude, it's a Pixar movie. That's why.
I still haven't seen though. I have not seen Up. Is that right? Is that what it's called?
Dude, Up has the most destructively heartbreaking first 10 minutes of any movie ever. And I love every
So I should
minute
probably
of it.
watch that one. That's what you're saying.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a redemptive story, but like the first 10 minutes are like...
It's going to gut you a little bit.
The first 10 minutes gut you. Because it tells the whole story of the old man at the first 10 minutes of it.
Oh, man. Well, so shooting it back, I'm the interviewer now. What's the best movie you've seen then? Or you know, or a few of the best that you've seen this past year?
Oh, my gosh. Dude, I see a lot of movies.
We're the opposite on this end.
Yeah,
I don't see anything you see. Them
well,
all.
we also do I also every other week do a podcast about movies that we watch on Netflix.
Exactly right. Yeah,
you know. So,
which by the way, I'm surprised about because I don't have Netflix, and Netflix. Actually, it's funny. Right when I got out of watching stuff, Netflix was just starting to like blow up.
It'd be a thing, yeah.
Because you could have it, but people were still doing Redbox, and they were still doing even Blockbuster was still like a thing for a minute. And now isn't the one movie up for an Oscar or something?
Yeah, they've got a movie up for an Oscar this year. I can't remember.
And I think it's a front runner. I think it's called. Oh, my friend Kevin Perkle. Shout out to Kevin Perkle out there. He's going to be angry because he's a film buff, and I am. Not, I don't know the name of this movie. Anyway, blah blah blah. Yeah,
we have the power of the internet with us, my friend.
I will say. You know, content is changing a lot in the film world to where, you know, you don't have to be a big studio anymore.
No.
And actually a lot of these pitches that like, you know, screenplays are going to, they might get rejected by a major, you know, movie house, and then they get picked up by like Netflix or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that's, I think, a few of the movies that I've seen this year that I've been like, damn, that's a great-ass movie.
Yeah.
But one of them was this movie called Extinction. And it was, and we talked about it prior on one of the Netflix and Chill episodes, but they had, it was Michael Pena, who was in End of Watch, and Ant-Man and stuff like that. And it was this crazy, like, futuristic, end-of-the-world scenario alien invasion films. And by the end of it, you find out that, throughout the course of the movie, you find out that, there are humans, and then there are, I don't want to call them replicants because that's Blade Runner, but there are these androids that are made to look just like humans, act just like humans, yada, yada, yada.
Right, exactly.
Well, they kind of revolt because they're tired of being used as slaves and blah, 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 blah. And the humans exodus planet Earth.
Interesting.
So it's just the androids that are left here on the planet.
Okay.
Well, years down the line, however many it's been, the humans come back to Earth. And that's the alien invasion.
So weird. Okay,
yeah,
I
it's
like
a
it.
great movie, and I'm sorry I spoiled it for you, but
well, I mean, a lot of people out there,
because chances are you'll probably never watch it.
That's true. Actually, this is funny. Oh my gosh. Time out, everybody. I'm having a bit of an episode. Give me a second. To show you like how much. So I was actually following TV shows for a while after I stopped watching movies because you could like hack it on your computer, or whatever. Yeah. So like The Walking Dead, I was watching. I think I saw the first 4 seasons, maybe, and then I stopped watching, but I kept following the Paste magazine, like breakdown of every episode. Like I'd read it, so it's like you're totally spoiling the episode without seeing it, but it saved me a lot of time. I could be like, well, this is what happened.
The last few seasons have been garbage. Like I stopped watching it, but like I still read the comic books.
Are you a True Detective guy? Have you watched True Detective?
I just got a buddy of mine's HBO Go password.
Okay.
So I'm about to start season 3.
But you've seen the first 2 or the first one?
I saw the first one. I saw 2 episodes of the second one. I was like, this is garbage. I'm not watching the rest of it.
I heard that because I think the first season of True Detective is brilliant. I think it's one of the best things ever.
Amazing.
But I did not see the second season. I hear that who is the he's from Ireland, the actor in it. Oh shoot.
In the newest one?
In the second one, they said he was kind of like saving grace.
Oh, Colin Farrell?
Yeah, Colin Farrell was supposed to be really good, but like the rest of it was trash or whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, like it wasn't. Like, you just can't have, like, this crazy cerebral, metaphysical detective story, like, this with, like, just drenched in existential crisis.
Right.
For the first season, and then go into some stupid left-hand mobster tale for the second season. Like, I'm all about anthologies.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I don't care. You could call it, Your Mom's Warehouse #1, and then Your Mom's Warehouse #2 could have a completely different cast. I don't care. Tell me a good story.
Yeah, right.
And like, I just could not get into season 2. But from what I hear, season 3, which the 3rd episode just came out recently, I guess.
Yeah,
is supposed to be just as good as the first season.
And part of it is the casting, because I'm going to mispronounce his name, but the lead in the new season, Mahershala Ali.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. He just got nominated for an Oscar too.
I think, did he win an Oscar for?
Or was it last year
for the movie he was in? I can't remember. So I actually saw him. I have seen some shows over the years. I saw him in House of Cards when he was on House of Cards, and I was like, okay, this guy's got some chops. And then he won the Oscar or whatever for the movie that he was in, and now he's kind of blowing up.
Yeah, he was in Luke Cage. That's where I knew him from. He was on the Netflix series.
I totally missed that one. Yeah.
Yeah, he played Copperhead on the 2nd season.
Yeah, and apparently,
I'm a comic book guy, so I mean, I'm all about it. So.
We haven't even gotten the comic books yet. That's cool. But yeah, so on the list of things to check out, yes, True Detective, new season, go check it out. It's on my list.
Yeah, have you seen any of them?
I saw I haven't seen any of the new episodes.
Okay,
I saw the entire first season twice. I think I watched it twice.
That first season was amazing. That was the season that actually kind of convinced me that Matthew McConaughey was actually a decent actor.
Yeah, no. So here's the thing, I remember this vividly because again, I used to be a pretty big. I wouldn't say I'm a movie buff. I have friends that went to film school.
Sure.
I can't talk about it as eloquently as they can, but I remember seeing. It was one of his first films that he was in.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
It was not that movie.
With Jennifer Aniston.
No, it was the... is it Mississippi Burning or is it the other one?
Ooh.
It's not Mississippi Burning. There's 2 movies that are very similar.
He was in the one... Wasn't it with...
He was the one with Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
What was that movie called? Oh, jeez.
Wasn't... Sam Jackson was in that one too, wasn't he?
Well, so that's what I'm saying. There's like 2 different kind of like... movies, and I can't remember The one that he's in, oh no, Time to Kill.
Time to
Bam,
Kill.
there it is.
That's
Okay.
right. With
Sam
Samuel
Jackson and Sandra Bullock. So check this out. Like, if you watch A Time to Kill, he's an actor. He's like doing it. And then I think what happened, honestly, and I don't know him personally, obviously, whatever.
Sure.
Like, I think he just started taking the roles that he was getting based on his looks. So it's like, I'm Matthew McConaughey. I'm going to take my shirt off and make $1 million.
Right. I'm going to start doing a bunch of romantic comedies.
And literally, that was his career for the most part for a while. And then it snapped when he did, like, what was the Dallas, I didn't see it, the Dallas Buyers Club. And then you start seeing him get back into this thing. And
let's do some dramas, and then we'll do a cheesy movie, and then we'll do a drama, and then
so
we'll do a cheesy
his
movie.
acting chops, like, he, you know, I remember reading
Moonlight. He won the Oscar for Moonlight.
Oh, that's right. Good call.
Yeah. Sorry, we're back to. I'm just searching the end.
We're back to Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
I can't talk anymore because my throat's gone. I didn't tell Ruben before this, but my speaking voice has a shelf life of 45 minutes, and we're already way past that, so it's gone. So yeah, are there any other movies that I should watch then, like that I have missed over the past 5 years?
Man, well, Black Panther just got nominated for Best Picture.
It did.
Is
first comic movie ever. Yeah,
and it's a good movie. Like, it's one where you can walk into it without having watched every single Marvel movie, and
which I've missed most of them.
90% of them.
I've missed a lot of them.
Yeah, dude, have you seen? Oh wow, not Dazed and Confused. He was excellent in Dazed and Confused. What the hell was the name of the movie that I saw? He was in Contact?
He was. Another good performance.
Contact,
is so you were talking about Extinction, right?
Yeah, Extinction was excellent.
So Contact, for those of you out there that are sci-fi fans, they've already seen it, but like even if you're a mildly curious sci-fi fan, Contact like is a really underrated movie, and I think it just flew under the radar.
Sure.
That has Jodie Foster in it.
Yeah. It was a huge movie. It was Carl Sagan wrote the book that was based upon.
The script is really good. It's really heady. It like throws you in some different directions, and it leaves a lot of things open. It's really, really good. Go back and watch that one. I can't remember. I mean, I saw. This is dating me, but like I remember I had the VHS tape
of it.
Oh yeah, or whatever.
Well, I just remember South Park making fun of it. Like, I saw It was.
Oh yeah.
He waited 2.5 hours, found out it was the alien was their goddamn father.
Ridiculous.
But have you seen Frailty?
Oh yes. Okay.
Oh,
so another really good McConaughey film,
dude. Fantastic.
He like brought it, and actually,
he and Bill Paxton and Powers Booth.
And Bill Paxton, if I remember correctly, was directing that one and could not. And I don't know the whole story, so just look it up Wikipedia. But he wasn't.
He did direct it.
He was not going to star in it. He wasn't going to be the role, but he couldn't find the right person to fit the role. So he's like, "Well, I'll just do it."
Yeah.
And I mean, Bill Paxton's a great actor.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and that movie really kind of like I think that was another
mind fuck movie.
Messes you up when you watch it. It's kind of like what's the oh my gosh. See, it's been a long time, guys, since I talked movies. I'm not prepared. I was prepared on the music side.
So you prepped for the music side. You didn't prep
I did
for
not.
anything.
Memento, is that
Memento,
right?
yeah.
It's very similar. It's kind of similar to Memento, where it like throws you at the end, and you're like, oh my gosh, I did not see that coming at all. It's like a Shyamalan movie, but not. It's not as thriller-esque as Shyamalan does. Which is actually, I want to see the new
Glass.
I do, because I saw.
Did you see Split?
I haven't seen Split though. See, because I saw the first one. I saw Unbreakable. You know, and I followed his stuff early on.
Yeah.
But I have not seen Split.
Split's fantastic.
Yeah,
Split's great. It was a great return to form, especially after like Lady in the Water and Airbender. Like, Split is excellent. Not only that, it's another one of those actors' master classes.
Oh right.
With oh god, what's the actor's name?
Who's in Split?
Yeah.
James McAvoy.
Yeah. McAvoy's amazing.
Yeah, and actually, the only reason I knew that is because Men's Journal apparently forgot that I canceled my subscription, and they sent me another one. And he's like on the cover, and I was reading it, and I was like, okay, he has a very wide range, James McAvoy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he's been in some great stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've seen a bad movie with James McAvoy. Well, wait, I take that back. Wanted was pretty terrible.
There was yes. Wait, what was the one where he was that the one where he was like the trained killer or whatever?
Yeah.
The script was garbage.
It was garbage, but the comic book that it was based upon
probably pretty
was
cool.
Fantastic.
Seems like it would have been a cool comic.
Dude, it was
in
a great
film.
comic.
It was very fronty. Like whenever anybody tries to they're too cool and they think they're cool on screen, they lose me immediately.
Well, like with Wanted, like the comic book that it was based upon was like it was bonkers. And the way and I'll show you because I've got a copy of it.
Yeah, sure.
Of course I do.
Of course you do.
You know, it's like me being like, I saw them. I went to that show. But like the main guy, McAvoy's character in the book was drawn to look just like Eminem.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. I didn't know.
Yeah. And like it's dark. It's way dark. Like the movie was weird in its own sense.
I wouldn't call the movie dark. It was just kind of like it was like whatever.
It was schlocky.
Yeah, it was very schlocky. That's true.
You know,
they had some big name actors in it too.
They did because they had Angelina Jolie
and they had Morgan
Freeman.
Yeah, right.
You know, and I think that was one of like McAvoy's big like first U.S. breakout roles.
That was one of the first times I saw him in something bigger. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but it was one of those where like the book was just dark, dude. Like, it's a good like read.
Yeah.
It's a really good read. But, like, it's fucking dark.
Wow.
Like, some of the shit that they do in the book, you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, what's going on?
I think Britney Spears gets raped in
what?
there. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Not
well, not by name, but they talk about, like, because the author, Mark Miller.
Okay, yeah.
He's done, like, the Kingsman and all this
he's
stuff.
done all
this
this
huge stuff, like Kick-Ass and all of this. But his, like, anything that he does and puts his name on, I'm buying.
Right.
Just because it's that good. And I'm waiting for his Netflix series to start rolling in.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's cool. So as a fan of, well, you said you were a fan of The Walking Dead. Are you like a fan of the comics as well? Okay.
Yeah, I buy the trade paperbacks when they come out.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I didn't jump in early enough to buy the individual issues.
Got it.
So, but I'll buy I've got like 30 trade paperbacks right now because they've all got like 5 issues in them.
Wow.
You know, so I've got about 30 of those right now. But yeah, when they come out, I buy them and I read them, and they're good. Like, Robert Kirkman is an incredible writer.
Wow. Okay.
You know, and Bill Maher can go fuck himself because, like, he just went on this tirade.
Yes, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Maher has had some sides to, what's the word I'm looking for? Some faux pas. I don't want to judge Bill Maher based on one thing he said, but that was very, like, jarring. It was a little jarring.
Well, for one, like, he went on a tirade about, like, Stan Lee after Stan died.
Right, exactly. That's what
on a blog post, which was like, okay. And then he like doubled down last week on his show.
And I wonder, to me, is he just disconnected from an entire sect of culture? Like,
honestly, I think he's just an elitist prick.
No.
I really do. Like,
sometimes I feel like he gets it really right with some of his analysis of like the political culture.
Sure, but I also think that he is part of the far left that
he gets himself in trouble
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and he has for a long time. I mean, his first show got canceled, his second show got canceled, whatever, you know.
Well, and then like that big controversy last year where he said he was a house N-word.
Oh yeah, I remember reading about
that. You know, that was a bit of a controversy, but like, you know, I don't trust anybody who wants to talk shit about something that they've never experienced.
That's what I mean. I mean, I feel like he's like, if you're that, you know, you're looking at him, his age, his demographic, it's like you probably just don't understand. It'd be like if he was talking about hip hop or something.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
but at the same time, like, you know, like he's blaming the culture of comic books for being possibly a factor of electing our current president.
Right.
And I'm like, do you think like,
no.
And look, trust me, I'm not conservative by any point. I lean left, but I wouldn't like align myself.
Sure.
Because I believe the values. There are values on. There's good people on both sides.
You know, we would.
Which is terrible. But like, you know, there's stuff that conservatives believe that I think is right on. There's stuff that liberals believe that I think is right on. I'm fairly centrist in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I don't even want to say I'm socially very liberal, but there are things like guns. I don't care. Death penalty. I don't care.
Sure.
You know, and that's me. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's you know, what was it that a buddy of mine said? Opinions are like assholes; they all stink, and everybody's got one.
We all do have our opinions, that's for sure. Yeah.
But like you know, you hear like I hate the far left and the far right, both. Like I don't want to say hate. That's a strong word.
It's a very strong word, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, God, I didn't want to get into politics. But either way,
we did though. But it's okay. No,
that's what happens. Cause
as
like,
go ahead. Yeah.
But like, you know, I get it. I understand why we have both. But at the same point, like, lighten up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that it's something that we don't have to talk politics right now. But yeah, I mean, this is George Washington, one of his things, his exit speech or his exit, whatever he wrote, I can't remember, was saying that
actually Alexander Hamilton penned.
Oh, really?
Most
okay.
Of his final
didn't know that
final draft
was talking about how partisan politics will like ruin us all. Like,
yeah,
and he was totally right, and it has.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go too much into it, but yeah, like as somebody who is I'm a proud liberal, I was pretty turned off by the Bill Maher thing because I'm like, listen, man, like you're not helping because this is an entire group of people, and there are so many people that love comic books.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a comic book guy as a kid. I actually collected for years.
Yeah.
And it's escapism, and it's something that makes you like think, and it makes you feel.
Right.
So why is that contributing to the bad stuff? It's not.
It's not.
He was I think he was really disconnected on that kind
No, absolutely. And for that too, it's like I've never known in my entire life where escapism is needed more than it is now.
We need something, that's for sure. And that's why, that's why I keep churning the music out. That's how it goes.
So like who would you say, like, I know you said you started kind of in the vocal vein and whatnot. Let's turn this back to you.
Thank you. But this is a good show because I go to you, you go to me, so it goes. It's like
and it's the schlockiest question of
I
all
like
time.
schlocky. Let's do it.
Who would you say, like, what was your main like impetus, your first influence to be like, wow, you heard that first thing that you heard, you dropped the needle, push play on the tape, that you were like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to do this.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was, maybe there was one of those moments, and my parents did have a very good record collection.
Sure.
It's, it's a combination of a lot of things. I do vividly remember like dropping the needle when I was first playing bass, okay? Mm-hmm. And I was learning to play bass lines off of vinyl. Now, we had CDs and we had tapes, but my parents also had some really cool vinyl. So I'm like, why not listen to the vinyl? And
you get that rich, warm tone out of it. You can
you do.
Pick a lot of the
I had like a speaker set up in my room, and I actually had my own turntable, and I was dropping the needle, and I totally messed up these records because I kept bringing the needle back. Like, instead of rewinding, I just like keep bringing the needle back to learn the part.
Sure.
But it was Paul McCartney, and it was Let It Be and Abbey Road, and it was all those lines. It was like, something and the line to come together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's something here. Yeah. That is like,
Rain is probably one of the best bass lines ever recorded.
Yeah. I mean, I have no comeback for that. That's true. And so for me, it actually was a needle. It was a needle drop, and it was like, okay, there's a different, just like we escape into comic books or movies or whatever it is, for me it was like I'm hearing something in this record that I can't figure out.
Sure.
But I want to figure it out, and it makes me excited, you know. So that's what got me into it. And then it was like the floodgates opened up.
Yeah.
And then I started like, buying. This is back in the Walkman days. Like, I think I wore out my Walkman tapes. Like, I'd be like to the point where they'd break and I couldn't fix them, So that was the first thing that got me into it. It was the Beatles. This is not a shocking revelation for any music fan out there, but
it's always a shocking revelation for me when people are like, fuck the Beatles. I'm like, what?
There's a really good article out about that somewhere.
Really?
Because it's like, if you listen, I actually, with a good friend of mine, shout out to Nicole Amine, she's out there, we listened to one of the Beatles records like front to back recently, and it was like, this still holds up.
Yeah.
Like, this holds up. It's been like 60 years or something,
sure,
and it's still amazing.
I think the White Album just hit its 50th anniversary.
Right, exactly. Like, so, yeah, I think that's what got me into it. And then again, because I came up and it was such a part of my life already.
Sure.
It wasn't something I was doing. It was something of like who I am. That was the turn for me. It was like, oh, well, I want to be able to create stuff like this, like they did. So how do I do that? And then I just started trying to figure that out.
Right.
You know, and that's when you start joining bands and you did the whole thing, and you're in a very it's not a lucrative career, but you're in a career and it's good. So,
yeah. Because for me it was like when I first heard Aerosmith's Permanent Vacation.
Okay, yeah.
And Def Leppard's Hysteria.
Oh, wow.
I got those 2 albums for Christmas the same year, and I was just like total mind explosion. Because before that, it was like, I had all these recorded things that I got off of TV of like Disney used to do this, and I'm showing my age here, but back in the day, back in the mid '80s, Disney would have all these montages they would put together to old Motown and Janet Dean music and stuff like that, 50s Beach Boys era kind of stuff, or 60s Beach Boys era type stuff. And I just remember having cassettes of those that I'd put it next to the thing and record, and
totally.
So it was all Janet Dean and the Beach Boys, and then you hear, God, what was the big single off of Pour Some Sugar on Me? And you're like,
oh, yeah.
What the hell
what
is
just happened?
this?
Where is this going?
Yeah, or Dude Looks Like a Lady, and somebody just dropped a bomb on you. And he's going to grab another beer.
I'm grabbing another one.
Dude, there's plenty of other flavors in there as well.
That's true, but I do
You're
like.
a stout guy.
I'm a stout guy. We know this.
Right.
We've already described this. I like my coffee black and my beer's dark.
Right.
What can I say?
So, and then after that, the thing that made me want to pick up a guitar was when I heard Nevermind.
Right.
Because I was like, I can do that. I can just buy a book and do that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Funny story too, because a lot of people, I think. Well, I mean, that's not even a funny story, but a lot of people that when you listen to their music. This is what I love about pop culture, or about art in general, is that it plants the seeds for so many different styles, even if that style that's way out there later, 40 years later, sounds almost nothing like it.
Yeah,
it's there. So the Beatles did that. Everybody started picking up instruments and doing it.
Oh my God!
And then you look at Kurt Cobain, and he was a big John Lennon fan,
huge John Lennon fan.
And his stuff inspired everything else from there. And now you have people even my good friend, Kevin Andrew Perkle, who's a folk singer-songwriter, writes beautiful folk, Americana music. He came up on all that stuff,
right?
Like we did,
Yeah.
So it's just it's very cool to see how art begets art. You know, how it's not just singular, it's not just binary. It's it's this wave.
And I think it's weird that you had the Beatles, which destroyed Presley and everything that came of that era.
They flipped it over a lot, yeah.
And then you had your 70s era where disco kind of took its thing, but rock started really doing its thing. If you think about it, Abbey Road, Let It Be, Black Sabbath's first record, Led Zeppelin's first record, and the Doors' first record all came out in the same year.
That's crazy when you think about that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And we really and then kind of the butt metal kind of came in the 80s, with all the Hairspray. But it just seems as far as rock and roll music is concerned, or music in general, the last hard pivot we had was the 90s grunge alternative movement. But
true.
If you look at the time frame, and I've been kind of really thinking about this lately, hip hop has been this slow burn into prominence.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, where's it going to go next?
Well,
electronica kind of keeps peeping its head up every 5-10 years or so.
Yeah.
But what is the big? What do you think
the
next
thing?
Yeah.
This is actually and I'm probably not going to answer the question well, because I cannot predict the future. I feel like I'm always a step behind. I think this is a thread or a topic on either All Songs Considered somewhere, like a show they did, or
Sure.
on Sound Opinions. I can't remember. Because it's a pretty true statement. Like,
Yeah.
That was Last Turn. Where is it going?
Like the hard 180 turn.
Yes. Hard 180. And we haven't really seen it much.
No.
You know, you have what I see in hip hop is I see like a return a little bit to the lyrical content that was like early on, like with hip hop when it came out. So you have guys like Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, dude, that last Kendrick.
You know,
the last two Kendrick, because I'll count, the
Sure,
Black Panther
whatever.
soundtrack as a Kendrick album.
You look at lyricists like that, and they're melding what Kendrick's doing. You know, so I have to back up a little bit. So I'm not well versed in hip hop. I didn't come up on it, but I know enough, and I've heard enough where it's like I can follow along. And I remember I was in Seattle. I was visiting some friends for New Year's in Seattle, and I got up, and it was after I'd run the marathon. This was after the marathon, and I hadn't been jogging a lot, and I'm like, I'm going to go for a run. And I went out and listened to the entire To Pimp a Butterfly record, like front to back.
Sure.
Jogging along the bay or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And what I think is happening in hip-hop is it's a little bit of a return to the lyrical content, but it's also melding in all these other styles that were from African-American culture or not. I mean, so like with that, you have all this jazz influence. You have guys like Thundercat, the bass player, he does like all sorts of weird jazz. You have like Kamasi Washington, he's the saxophone guy. There's a blend of all of these roots culture music here, but to say where is it going to go from there, I don't know, because I don't know. I think there's almost so many different subgenres and styles now.
Sure.
It just begets more and more subgenres.
Right.
So maybe the reason that there was a hard turn for the grunge movement for Never Mind is because the radio was still such a dominant force.
Yeah.
And so you could do that, and like everybody could be listening to the same song. Now you have that, but it's not the thing that's like pushing art forward.
Right.
Like there are still those bands that are really big singles, but when you listen to it and you break it down, the content and the art is like
not there.
They're making a lot of money, but it's not
Right.
there. It's not there. I listen to all those. I listen to them in the club, and I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it anymore.
Well, like a lot of the, what do they call it, the mumblecore, the mumble rap. I'm like,
there's a lot of that.
When I hear a lot of that autotune shit, I'm just like, ugh. Like,
and the thing is, there's
and there's something there. There's something there that make people like it, and I'm not going to dismiss it for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I don't get it.
Right. Well,
but maybe I'm just of that age where it's not for me to get.
I think there's also like,
get off my lawn, you little bastards.
Music can serve many different purposes,
sure.
Right? So there are songs that you just want to dance to, but a lot of the dance music in the 20th century, like the artists would then push themselves to something beyond that. The Beatles pushed themselves beyond their dance band days to create their later work.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I was thinking about it today, like, and I think about it often because I'm a big Beatles fan,
right?
But like, what they did in a 7-year span
is unbelievable.
Is unprecedented.
Anybody that ever, because I've only had a few friends over the years that have been on that camp of like, well, the Beatles aren't that great. And you have to like shake them a little bit, because I try to be very zen in my 30s now. I'm trying to be very zen and be like, well, everybody has their thing, but no, you have to shake people that don't say that, because yes, 7 years to go from where they were,
from Love Me Do to The Long and Winding Road,
is incredible.
I mean, that's almost like going from Radiohead's Creep to Kid A,
right?
Like they're the only other band that I could say that went from point A to number 3.
Right.
They just completely surpassed the alphabet. Now, granted, not the greatest fan of, their later work. I tried to listen to A Moon-Shaped Pool recently, and I'm like, where is the dynamic in this record?
Sure,
and
right,
like, it's tough for me because I really like Radiohead. I like them as a band. I think what they do is amazing. And it's just, I've started to turn a corner on In Rainbows.
Yeah,
because like for me, I'm just like originally, and I'm like, okay, well, this one is pretty good, and this song is okay. This one's pretty good.
Do you think that? Now, I do not normally partake in a lot of the like recreational drugs out there.
Not
like,
in years.
But like, I wonder as I listen to In Rainbows, I'm like, this might be one of those records that would be better if you were on something.
Maybe if you smoked a big joint.
Because there's like a lot of there's a lot of droning, like ding ding da ding ding da ding ding da, like it just keeps going. And I, as an active listener, I'm kind of like I can't follow. But maybe like I can see strains in it of being like it's a body experience.
Yeah,
or something.
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those where you just need to strap headphones on and just get a good.
Maybe because there's some really good guitar lines in that record.
Yeah.
There's like some good stuff.
Yeah, well, like I mean, I've always said too, if you want to realize the genius in Nirvana's Nevermind, put on a pair of headphones and listen to Chris Novoselic play bass.
Yes,
he drives that record. Like, if it weren't for those bass lines that he did, like, yeah, Kurt's doing his thing, and he wrote the songs, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
But those bass lines that Chris Novoselic put down were second to none.
Yeah, he's great. I love his bass playing. I love that stuff.
But but definitely within In Rainbows, there's a lot going on in there. And I think my brain is just finally starting to get ready for it. Yeah. But, like, In Rainbows, not In Rainbows, but A Moon-Shaped Pool, I'm just like, what happened? Well, and I've tried a couple times. Like, it's a beautiful record.
It is really hard for any artist that has success early. Now, I would say with Radiohead, they had success, but they kind of like they didn't roll with it.
Yeah, they eschewed what they did and then started over again.
But it's, as an artist, though, still, you're always, if you have something that's beautiful or great, you're always chasing after it.
Oh yeah,
always. And like it is actually very rare for a band like the Beatles to have their best work in the middle or at the end of their career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then most bands also hold themselves up into a studio and just recorded incessantly.
No, I mean, it's not like what the Beatles did is not financially feasible today at all.
Not at all.
In any way, shape, or form. And also the fact that like they were musicians that were gigging out and building up their chops for years.
Sure.
And then they played a lot and they got big. And then it was when recording technology was just blooming and they were trying all these different things. For any one of those things to happen now is just really tricky.
Right.
So now you have some artists that have the money, but they're either heritage artists where they've already had their best work in front of them and they might not have that spark anymore. Or you have artists that have a lot of money but are not at the level of the Beatles,
right?
For whatever reason.
Sure.
And so it's a hard thing to live up to. It's a hard thing to do.
No, I get it. You know.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I keep harping on this Moon-Shaped Pool album.
Well, now that's that I haven't listened to that one in a while, and I'm gonna put it on my list.
For me, it's like on my list. It's nice dinner music, but there's no dynamic to it at all. Yeah. Like, and for me, it's like I enjoy dynamic. It gives there's bite to it. There's something there with it, and like it's just not interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's pushing more toward the lyrical than the musical, possibly. I don't know.
Sometimes I have to sit with a record. Sometimes I have to sit with a record like 5-6 times.
Yeah.
And now professional music critics will. I don't know how they do this, by the way, because I listen to a lot of music all the time. They'll listen to a record like 20 times, in a row, and I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah,
but
right.
I'm like, I can usually tell within the first 5 to 6 seconds if I'm going to like something or not.
Right.
But if it's an artist that I respect, I will stick with it, and then I'll try it again and again. Like Ryan Adams, for example. Like Ryan Adams' last record, when I first heard it, I was like, I don't get it. The mix is kind of weird, whatever. And it took me like 2 or 3 listens, and then eventually I was like, okay, this is awesome. I love this record.
See, I've never really delved into Ryan Adams.
You should do it, man. You should get in.
What would be a good starting point?
Probably his first like big record.
Not the Whiskey Town stuff, was it?
No, I mean he did Whiskey Town, but like
because I was unimpressed with Whiskey Town, but then again it was '97, and I was in the midst of if it ain't rock and roll, the way that I think rock and roll should be.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, I mean you could go to the record that he released a couple years ago. It was his last big full-length, Prisoner, which came out in 2017. But honestly, Heartbreaker is what you want to listen to. Okay. Heartbreaker is his first solo record. It has some covers on it. I think it's is it a Dave Rawlings cover? I can't remember. But To Be Young Is to Be Sad, that sort of stuff. You'll get an idea of what Ryan Adams is in that record. And that's where I would go. And,
sure.
he's a very prolific songwriter. He's one of those guys that writes like, I think on this last record he wrote like 200 songs, and he picked the top whatever. And he did the 1989 Taylor Swift cover album.
Right, which is weird.
Which, yes. And I actually love that record so much.
Her album was really good. That's the only Taylor Swift album I actually own. Dude, the fact that she released a single with only drums and horns on it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, that song kicked my ass. Like, I love that song.
But, sometimes all you listeners out there, are they still listening? I don't even know if they're still listening.
Yeah, they are.
They've listened this far, or they pause and listen again.
Right.
Sometimes you have to, if you think that there might be a chance, you got to stick with it. And I find myself, because our bodies and our mood determine how we hear things. Okay, it's not like if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm anxious or depressed or whatever, and I'm trying to like dig something. And I'm skipping the songs.
Yeah.
That's not the songs. That's on me.
Right, for sure.
I have to step back from that and then come back at it later.
Yeah.
And so that's my approach to a lot of things, where it's like, if there's an artist, the Bon Iver, his solo record, or well, it wasn't a solo record, it was like his second record, but a lot of bands do this where they name the record after the band, but it's not their first record.
Right.
So
their second album is their eponymous record.
Exactly. I couldn't get into that record at all, and it took listen after listen. I wasn't getting it, and everybody was loving it. And then I'm driving west through like the mountains of Arizona, listening to it, and it was like my mind exploded. I'm like, I get it now.
Right.
I understand it. And then it became one of my favorite records. So
right.
Sometimes you got to stick with it. That's all.
Yeah. And it's interesting how a location and a time and a place can really open something up like that for you.
All that.
Like for me, I was kind of half-assed backpacking in Europe after I graduated college, and I found myself in Amsterdam, and it was the last morning I was there.
This is a great story, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It was the last day that I was there, and I was walking through the streets. It was the first day where it stopped raining. The sun was shining and everything, and I had Incubus's Morning View, yeah. In my and my Discman at the time. And like I'm walking through the streets just weeping.
Wow.
Listening to this record. And it's funny how like every time I listen to that album now, I get taken back there. And like I don't get like weepy, but like I'm like, wow, I remember walking through the streets and like seeing like these cops were all out in like mass.
Yeah.
Because there were a bunch of squatters up in one of these apartment buildings, and they were trying to get these squatters out of the building, and they're throwing paint bombs at the cops as I'm walking through the streets at like 9:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Like I just remembered that. It like just brings those memories right back out.
Yeah, I mean music does so many things. This is the worst scientific explanation of music that I could give. No, music is a lot like smells.
Yeah.
Where a smell will take you back to like this weird random, memory from your childhood.
Yes.
Music does the same thing.
Right.
I was having a conversation again. So one of the artists I play with, her name is Nicole Amine. She's a singer-songwriter. She grew up in Detroit, and she's in Chicago now. And she wants to cover a song from one of Keen's songs, the British band Keen.
Sure.
And her favorite record is like their second record. She's like, I love this record. I'm like, I love their first record. And it I think a lot of it comes down to time and place, because as you listen to both of those records, they're very good and they're equally like well written songs. But it was like
where you were at that point.
Where you were at that point in time. I remember exactly where it was. Like back in the days where like Target had like the the rack of like new hot artists.
Yeah.
And you'd find like Snow Patrol,
and they were all the like the $9.99 CDs.
Yeah. And I did the Keen record buy on a random buy. Okay. And this was like guys, kids don't know this these days. Like back then, you shelled out like $10, $20, you might get a bust record.
Sure.
You'd get it and there'd be no songs you like. But I went entirely off of my Target representatives telling me that it was a good record, and I thought the cover was cool.
Dude, the cover art was always an opening gateway.
Yeah, exactly. And so for me, I remember buying that record and being like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." And that's, I think, it's all time and place. I think that's what it is. It's your experience with older music and how it resonates later.
Sure.
You know? Which is interesting too. On a side note, when you're trying to go back, because I have a lot of gaps in my music history.
Yeah.
Like, again, I came up kind of in a more Broadway classical vocal music thing. My parents had some records around, but that's not what I was listening to. And I'm always like digging to kind of go back. And there are some records I think I'll never experience the same way that people did when they came out.
Sure.
Know? And that's just how it is. You know?
Well, that was one of the things too when I was working at Kiss the Sky, that Steve was always like talking shit, because all these kids that were like these young deadheads would come in. They're like, "You weren't there. What could you possibly relate to this music? You weren't there at the time." My uncle used to call them plastic deadheads. But it's like,
exactly, yeah.
Music resonates just on a molecular level.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I wasn't around when George Clinton came up with Parliament.
Yeah.
I've seen George Clinton and P-Funk 3 times or 4 times live. They're amazing.
That
live.
is true. I think it becomes a different experience. Like, it doesn't, and I love Steve. We both love Steve.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't, I don't think it matters. How am I trying to say this eloquently? I don't think it matters, like, if you came up with them or not. It's just whatever that experience is for you and you discover it, then that's what it is. Because, I mean, when I first laid the needle on a Beatles record, that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Or even the early 2000s. I can't even remember. It might have been like 2000s.
Really?
You know, it was a long time. It was like later on. This is a band that had long since had their heyday, but for me it was a new experience.
Yeah,
I see some of my young students, one of my former students, he's like 16 and he's into like hardcore early punk. Like, he got into it and he found other people at his school that are into it.
Like they're UK subs.
Yeah, and they're like covering like some really, like, I saw his show and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and it's very inspiring to see like some people that are still finding stuff that's different than the current music culture that we have out there.
Right. Yeah, my have you ever found it like you found an artist and like you discover them midway through their career? And like you love like album C, you know, and then you try to go back and listen to their early stuff, and you're like,
yeah.
But like anything after album C is just amazing to you,
right?
Like, I don't understand that concept, because obviously, like, you know, granted, artists evolve and change over time, but like, what do you attribute that to?
It's the same thing, because that's me and Wilco.
Point in time.
That's me and Wilco. So like, I did not listen to the early Wilco records.
Sure.
And I can listen to Yankee Hotel Foxtrot and be like, wow, this is amazing. But the first Wilco record I heard was it was when they had the new guitar player. I'm trying to remember this. So I can like see where I was, but now I'm going to cheat and look it up. I'm looking it up, everybody out there, because we have the internet. I was working for Starbucks at the time.
Oh my gosh.
And speaking of Starbucks, they had a record label, and it was Sky Blue Sky.
Yeah.
This was their like 5th or 6th record or something, right? Sky Blue Sky, which a lot of Wilco fans do not like.
Really?
There are a lot of Wilco hardcore fans that are like, that record sucks. Because it was a kind of a turn for them a little bit. It was a little more softer, and they had a new guitar player. But I was working at Starbucks, and this was a record that they were pushing every day, so we played it on repeat every single day that I worked there. And I can remember like what the light looked like when I walked in to like set up the store and all that. And then I got hooked on Wilco.
Right.
And I like their early stuff, but I don't like go back to AM or being there like my friends that are Wilco fans do.
Dude, like,
you know?
Which is funny for me, because like anything before Yankee Hotel Foxtrot, I'm all about.
See, there you go. See, yeah, there it is.
And like anything after that, like I listened to that album, I'm like, why did everybody like just jizz in their pants over this record?
It's a time and place thing.
I
It's
guess
a time
so.
and place.
Like, cause then like, but then again, what is it? A Ghost is Born?
Yeah, Ghost is Born was before Sky Blue Sky. Yeah.
Yeah, good album, except for the 15-minute like noise in the middle of it.
Right.
Like there was one track that was like, look, I understand you want to be like Neil Young, but
yeah,
there's no reason to have a vacuum cleaner static for 15 minutes in the middle of your record. It's ridiculous.
This is like the inherent tenet with art is that it's open to interpretation because we all have different experiences and we all approach a different way. This was really interesting. So my good friend Kevin Andrew Perkle, he's one of the songwriters I play for. they were given an exercise to write about like a painting that they saw. It was like a painting, and they're supposed to write a song about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's song is different. And I listened back to his song, and just like when we listen to podcasts or radio shows and we fill in the gaps, you fill in the mental gaps of what you see. And then, so like I had heard this song many times before that he played. And I envisioned like this really dark, like you're in Appalachia and like you're in the forest and all this stuff. And then I see the painting that he based it on, and it's like some guy on the top of a ship looking at like a coast. And I'm like, this is the same painting and the same inspiration. We have two completely different interpretations.
It's interesting.
It's why art is art. It's why you go to the art museum and you look at a painting and it tells you something different. Yeah. So the artist puts it out there based on their feelings, but then it's completely open to interpretation. Huh. Yeah, it's really it gets kind of heady there, but but it's also kind of like it speaks to why we need art in this world and why there still need to be artists, because it inspires us to think differently and feel things and not be robots.
Do you hear that, Betsy DeVoe? Do you hear that? We need art in school.
We do.
You stupid. Yeah.
I got a little long-winded there. Sorry.
No. It's all good, man. Stand on that soapbox.
I stand on a little bit because, yes, because the arts, I mean, again, as I said earlier, like with my hometown, we almost lost all of our art music programs because we don't have the money. You see the programs getting cut everywhere.
You never see sports get cut, though.
Not usually.
No, you never see sports get cut.
And, part of it is, this is another history lesson for another time, children out there, but like, artists, especially musicians, in the history of like civilization, it's really only in recent history that they started making a ton of money for anything they did.
Sure.
A lot of the time they were making money because like kings would hire them to like do stuff, or churches would hire them. You know? But it's hard out there because most musician friends I know, we're all in it. It's a hard life. We're not making a whole lot.
Get in the van.
Exactly. You jump in, but like, if you think about a world without those, like, think about what life would be like if you walked into every place and you didn't have music. If music wasn't playing in the background, like if you went to a store.
Yeah, if you ever been into a store where there's no music
and you're looking
playing,
around,
and you're
like, what is going on
here?
Right now?
I walked into a Target a couple months back, and there was like no music being played. I don't know if like maybe their music went out or whatever, but it was like, this is just an interesting, like, it's just so, it's discordant without being discordant.
Yeah. I saw some article, and you cannot quote me here because I don't remember where it was, but they were saying they found some like early cave paintings from either the Neanderthals or another subsect. I can't remember what it was. And this was like a civilization that, they weren't making money off of their art, right? But they were still making it.
Right.
They were just doing it, which speaks to the whole idea that, like, we have to keep doing this stuff. There is inherent good in this. We can't let this go, and try to do something else that's just like, whatever it is.
Right.
Live your life out, make money.
Sorry.
I'm going to listen back to that, and I'll be like, what did he just say? But it's true. I'm all for it. Go, support your artists. Go to a show. I mean, go see a show, go to an art gallery.
Yeah.
One of the great things about Chicago and about Aurora and about this whole area is that there's a really good DIY scene right now going on in Chicago and also in Aurora. Aurora specifically with the art scene.
Right. Well, with Art Bar that Javi puts together.
You can see some really amazing artists, and it inspires you to do more in your own life. So now I'm actually officially off my soapbox. But that's what I'm saying. And when I listen back to this, none of it's going to make any sense at all.
No, it's going to be all good. So what was the last album you listened to front to back?
That is a great question. The last album I listened to front to back, and I'm going to look it up because I do have my playlists in front of me.
I think I left my phone upstairs. I couldn't even tell you.
Are you familiar with this band? They're called Pine Grove.
I am not.
They're an indie band. I can't recall if they're like New York. They might be like upstate New York or New York City.
Sure.
I'll have to look it up later. But this is it's probably their sophomore full length. And this record, you'd like it. I think if you're into some of the 90s stuff, they're like this weird, like, combination of like grunge, but it's not grunge. It's like kind of like like country, but it's not country.
Okay.
And it's really and like kind of like shoegaze, but it's not shoegaze.
Okay.
Really, really good lyrics, and they're a great band. The recordings are really like very DIY, stripped down. Kind of sounds like they're in a garage playing together.
Sure.
But it works.
Okay.
It's kind of like Car Seat Headdress a little bit, but like it really works. So the last Pine Grove record, and I don't remember the name of it. It was one that came out this last year. I listened to that like front to back. I actually listened to it front to back. It was so good. I was driving and I listened to it twice in a row. I was
really?
like, oh my gosh, this is like next level.
Very
so
cool.
That's my record. What's the last record you listened to front to back?
Honestly, I'm trying to think. 'Cause I've just been like throwing stuff randomly, just doing a shuffle bit.
Yeah.
And of course I can't pull it up here because all the albums I've downloaded from Apple Music do not show up in my feed here.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. God, what was it? Well, hold on. I'm going to pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just grabbed my phone.
That's right, because you left it upstairs.
Yes, I did. And I want to say it was Jimmy Eat World's Bleed American was the last time I listened to an album front to back.
Now, was that just, you mean like in general, like you re-listened to that record front to back?
Oh,
or
yeah.
That was the last record that came out that you listened to?
No.
Because that would be crazy.
Yeah, no. That was the last album that I've listened to front to back, like chronologically.
Dude, Bleed American is like
an amazing record.
First of all, yes, it is, and it's sad. Oh, hey, dog, what's going on? Didn't they change? They changed the title because it came out when it like the whole Twin Towers thing.
Yeah, because it came out in 2000 or in 2001.
Yep.
So they changed it from Bleed American to just Jimmy Eat World.
Right.
Recent reissues have come out as Bleed American.
Bleed American is my game time music. Like if it's go time for me, I throw it on and it's time. I did a latte art competition once.
Sure.
And which I won, by the way.
Right.
And like those dudes didn't know that I was about to put on Jimmy Eat World.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm like, it's go time, and I put my phone on top of it, I throw it on, and I do it like while it's rolling. I'm like, it's over. It's game over.
Nice.
It's also really good. Jimmy Eat World, both Bleed American and Futures. Futures is a great album too.
See, I actually listened to Clarity.
Okay.
As well.
A lot of okay. So
Clarity is very downbeat though.
Like Julie and Jeremy Elzerman,
Okay.
they are huge Clarity fans.
Are they?
They're the old school fans with it,
Sure.
And I, again, for me, like my exposure, this whole thing comes back full circle. Like I think the first record I heard of theirs was Bleed American.
As was mine.
So then it became my record.
Right.
And I really liked Futures, and then I followed them here and there.
Yeah, I never grasped onto them, but that Bleed American album was incredible.
Their drummer's really good. I learned a lot of when I was first learning drums. I just sat and figured it out.
Sure.
And actually, some of my drummer friends that are much better than I am did the same thing because it's just like slamming.
Yeah.
It's good.
And then I've picked up on Lady Gaga recently.
You know what? Lady
She's
Gaga
incredible.
is a. I have never listened to her records front to. I've only heard the singles.
You know what? You should check out her. What is it called? Jolene. Hold on, I'm pulling it up here. Joanne. It's her most recent record. That wasn't the Stars
okay.
Born
That wasn't
soundtrack.
the Stars Born. Right.
And it's really, it's different, and it's really good.
It's going on my list.
Like she is just an amazing talent. Like it's like if you put all of her weird shit like her image stuff behind her, and you just listen to the music.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
I think Lady Gaga, and I've read this in several interviews and articles, like she knew exactly what she was doing when she created this persona of herself.
Yeah, absolutely.
She is actually a good singer and all of that, and she just did it because that's her art or whatever,
And I've told it a million times, and I'm sure everybody that's listening right now is sick of hearing it, but the thing that turned me around with her is she was on Saturday Night Live. I think it was on her second album, I think. And she was doing all this weird dance music shit, and she had this gyroscope that was attached to her, and it was all this weird visual stuff going on. And then all of a sudden the music stopped, and she sat down behind a piano and just started to play.
Yeah,
and it was just her and a piano, and I was like, God damn, that's talent.
Well, it's this. It comes back to the Miley Cyrus thing, which is I think it was it a Grammys that she played where she had the whole weird. She was dancing with all the. like it was
when she was with Robin Thicke.
It was like a big thing controversy. Everybody's like, what happened? And Miley Cyrus, again, as a pure singer and artist, is really talented.
Oh yeah.
But the persona that you pursue, you're doing it for a reason,
right?
Whatever that reason may be, whether it's a shock value,
or
whether it's like you just trying to explore who you are.
Yeah. And I think with Miley, it was an exploration thing. Yeah. She was stuck in that Hannah Montana teeny bopper kind of thing, and she became an adult.
Yeah,
and
I can't even imagine.
Like she had to break that image somehow,
right?
So she just became this whatever she became, and now I think she's finally starting to turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see where she goes with her career a little bit, because like I said, with that cover show of the Chris Cornell stuff, it's like this girl can sing.
Well, I felt the same way about Kesha.
Yeah,
dude, that Rainbows album is incredible.
Yeah,
I would have never expected that coming from Kesha.
Yeah, she got wrapped up in some bad stuff with her producer and everything, but that's cool. So
yeah. So, and then have you ever heard Honey Honey?
I actually don't think I've heard that.
Oh, you got to check out
Okay,
some Honey
so
Honey.
we're getting out. See, guys, we have laptops here.
And
we're writing these things down. So I'm making a list based on the recommendations that I hear tonight.
Yeah, you got to check out Honey Honey. I would definitely start with Billy Jack, which was their second album. Take the first song, which is Angel of Death, and move it midway into the record.
Okay. Wow, that's really specific.
Yeah. I just think that Angel of Death is just the wrong foot to start off of on that record.
So I'm skipping ahead.
But that album, they've got a song on there called The LA River that just rips my soul out every time I listen to it. Their third album, which is just called 3, is really, really good as well.
Cool.
They just released this live EP where they do a cover of Bruno Mars and Mick Ronson's Uptown Funk, and it's actually really cool. They're very kind of a roots Americana kind of thing. Like she plays violin, guitar, and sings, and her other dude that's with her, I can't remember his name, but he plays guitar through most of the stuff as well. But goddamn, they're so good. They're so good.
All right, it's on the list. It's going down. You're going to check out Rubble Bucket. I'm going to check out Honey Honey.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple.
We got a couple recommendations here.
Yeah, Rubble Bucket, some Ryan Adams, some Pine Grove.
Yeah, Pine Grove is man. I think you're going to like. I hate when people say that, like, you're really going to like this, and then you hate it. But
yeah.
I would assume, based on the music that you're into, that you're going to dig Pine Grove. You can even just go and listen to their latest record, because both of the records are great.
Okay.
His lyrics are great. It is it takes you to a place. So it's good stuff.
All right, last question for the night.
Last question.
You got a long drive home.
It's not too bad, but I got a little bit of a drive.
Well, yeah.
There,
Well, you're a musician, too. You ain't got to wake up until noon. So
that's you're not wrong.
No, I got to take my car in. I went to start my car tonight.
It didn't start?
No, it started, but then it shut off because it overheated.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then I looked, and there's no coolant in it. And I'm like, what?
That's why. Yeah, that'll happen.
But
you got some kind of leak. I had a coolant leak.
It's like a three-year-old car.
Well, sometimes, as my mechanic says, sometimes that stuff just happens.
Right.
But
so, tomorrow I got to take it in.
That's a bummer. Yeah. Last question.
Anyway,
go for it.
What is your favorite genre of music to perform? I'm not going to ask what you prefer to listen to, but when you're performing, what is your favorite genre to perform?
Man, this is a really hard question because
I know you just like playing.
Well, and as a working musician, we have to wear a lot of different hats, right? So most of the working musicians that are friends of mine, we all kind of have the same gig. We teach during the day. We do pickup gigs. We play in 5 or 6 original bands.
Right.
And then we do corporate jobbing, wedding gigs, which is like top 40 covers, stuff like that.
Sure.
And we have church gigs. Pretty much everybody I know is either doing like a church gig on a Sunday, or if they're Jewish, they're doing like something else.
At the synagogue.
Exactly. That's our life. So you're playing a lot of different music. What is my favorite genre of music to perform is a really hard question. And this might I don't perform it a lot, but I actually really still like performing classical music.
Really?
I like singing classical music and Broadway stuff especially. Partially because that was my training as a singer.
Sure.
When I came up, I did it all through college, and I have only recently, maybe the past 2-3 years, I've been getting back into it a little bit more because I've been like diving deep into voice lessons again, part of my vocal rehab, which is a whole other story for another night.
Man, we got a lot of podcasts for all these.
We got a lot of
stories.
podcasts. But like if I envision myself on a stage,
sure.
I love playing bass. I love playing behind artists. But it would still be singing a song classically in front of an audience, or like in a Broadway show or something. Totally caught you off guard with that one, probably.
Yeah, totally.
It's different.
Totally.
But maybe secondary. Man, it's always different too as a multi-instrumentalist, because like you envision like, well, what would you rather play on this instrument? Like if I'm playing drums, I'm playing post-hardcore music and like like the early emo stuff, or like Jimmy Eat World.
Sure.
But if I'm playing bass, it's like totally different. I don't know, there is a really good resurgence of kind of like roots and folk music, which some of you have heard, that if I were writing, like if I'm a songwriter and I'm looking to write and perform, I would do that. There's a band called Bird Talker that's really big right out of Nashville. This band, The Collective, that I talked about earlier. They're kind of like melding, like, it's not bluegrass, it's not country, it's not folk, but it's got tinges of all of it. Plus, it's like super indie rock. So maybe if I was performing something on stage, that's probably where I'm leaning. And you just got to go check out those bands.
Right.
Check out, all that stuff. There's this band called River Wireless, Bird Talker, The Collection. You get an idea what that's about. So
sure.
That's my final answer.
So yeah, because one of the biggest of that roots thing that's out there right now that I'm aware of is Jason Isbell.
Exactly.
Dude.
Yeah.
And Dana and I and Tom went to go see him.
Oh, cool.
At the Tivoli Theater in downtown Downers Grove,
wow.
which is a movie theater.
Yeah.
And it was just him solo acoustic. And it was an amazing
show.
He's
amazing. And like, it's so funny too, because I got to see him. I was actually working. When I was working for Two Brothers, they brought in Dawes on a Friday night. And,
really?
And they brought in.
They're pretty huge.
Yeah. Well, this was before it was like literally like 6 months before they broke.
Really?
And if you know Chris Bowler, like he's
I know Chris.
Yeah, of course
I've
you do.
known Chris for years.
Yeah.
I knew Chris in high school.
Yeah. So this is funny. So I lived with Chris for like. Chris Bowler is the talent buyer for Two Brothers Brewing, the Roundhouse, and I think he works higher up in the company now too. But at the time, I needed a place to live. He's like, look, I got a basement. Let's do it. We lived together for like 2 years, right? And I was working at Two Brothers, and he's the talent buyer for Two Brothers, and I'm living with him, and he still would not tell me the artists like that he had booked.
Really?
Like it'd be like, we're about to let out the lineup for like the fest, and I'm like, well, who's playing? He's like, I can't tell you. And I'm like, get out of here. But so he had his finger on the pulse of the Dawes and the Jason Isbell thing like 6 months to a year before they broke, because he got Jason Isbell to play the parking lot of Two Brothers for their fest. I am not kidding you. And the show was incredible.
Yeah.
And then like literally 6 months later, he's winning a Grammy.
Yeah.
And he's selling out the Chicago Theater and all this stuff.
Yeah. Did you? He just put out a live album recently.
You know what?
From the same theater that they do Grand Ole Opry in.
Check this out, and
it's an amazing live record.
I will give you one more recommendation for the night, because this is the record that got me into Jason Isbell. So, you know how you have like those places and times that you hear something and it like changes you, or you hear something and you're like, okay, I get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was at Kiss the Sky, of all things, right?
Yeah, as we all are.
As we do, as it goes, and I'm going to find it here because I actually don't know. Let's see what happens. That is not it. That's not the one I want. Oh, no. Where is it? It's oh, no. It's not on why is it not on Spotify? I know it's a record. But so I was shoot, I cannot find the name of it. Hold on a second. We're getting there. It's live radio, but it's not live. It's taped radio.
Yeah, and I'm not editing.
And he's not editing.
Shit.
See, he didn't tell me this beforehand.
I used to comb through these episodes and like cut out dead space. Nah, fuck it.
You're like, I'm done. Anyway, it was one of the Jason Isbell live records.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it was Live from Alabama is what I'm thinking. I think it's Live from Alabama.
Okay.
And I was sitting at Kiss the Sky, and I was doing some side work, and I'm just like sitting there, and I hear his voice come on, and I'm like, who the hell is this?
Sure.
Like, what is this? And, I think it was like somebody was playing it. I go over, check it out, and that was it. I was hooked from the beginning. And I actually think that his live records are better than his studio records.
Oh, yeah. Live from Alabama. Here it is. I'll add that.
Add it. So, and he has some great producers,
Sure.
And he's actually won more Grammys and everything else. But,
and he did stuff with Drive-By Truckers. And
that is a band that you want to see live.
Yeah.
You want to see them live. You want to hear them live. Highly recommended. And, he and some of these other guys, even like Chris Stapleton, who's a little more of a pop crossover, but there's an entire resurgence of what is country. I think Nashville there's a scene down there that's finally breaking away from some of the pop stuff that has been so dominant for the past 20, 30 years. So yeah, you're totally on it. And I'm not from the South, but a lot of my family is from the South, and for whatever reason, when I pick up a guitar, it seems to fit with that kind of stuff. So that's my secondary answer to your question.
There you go. And after my last question.
After your last question.
But yeah, no, they just released Live at the Ryman.
Okay, cool.
Which it's freaking amazing.
I'll check it out, man.
Great record.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks for coming out tonight.
Hey, man, thank you for having me.
Oh, shit. Plug some shit.
I'm going if anybody even lasted for this entire debacle of me not remembering movies that I saw. Thanks. So I play with a lot of bands in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, I do have a couple shows coming up this week. So if this you said this episode
will drop on Wednesday.
Yeah, so hey, if you're hearing this on Wednesday, if you've lasted this long, I'm doing a double header on Saturday actually in Chicago. I'm playing with my good friend Jess Robbins at Constellation, kind of up on the north side.
And when is that?
That's going to be Saturday, February 2nd at Constellation. Jess Robbins is the artist. We are opening for another artist, and so you can catch the early show. I think we go on at 7 or 8 p.m. Constellation's a cool club. They do a lot of jazz stuff. And then the late show for all you late-nighters is at Subterranean in Wicker Park, which is because Double Door closed down, they're the last club in Wicker Park. And that's with my friend Nicole Amine. I think we're going to hit 11 or midnight or even later or something.
God.
So yeah, that's going to be a double one.
Yeah, that'll be me passing out on the couch before you guys even hit the stage. That's what happens when you have kids. You can fall asleep on the couch.
It's it's a whole other thing. It's okay.
Right.
I have some other shows coming up soon as well, and I'm going to tell you about them in a second. Blah, blah, blah. Where did it go? We're going to do the thing with the thing and the guy. I don't know what's happening. This is bad. I see it. This is why I have my notes. I had the notes all here, and then the notes are gone, and we're getting there. Hold on 1 second. We're so close. I found it. Okay, so
there you go.
So yeah, if you can't make it out to my super late show at Subterranean on Saturday, February 2nd, I'm also playing. You've been to Uncommon Ground in Lakeview, right by the Metro. It's a coffee shop. They do a lot of cool acoustic stuff. Tuesday, February 2nd, Uncommon Ground with Nicole Amine, and then my student band, because I do actually teach a young band. We're playing at Reggie's in the South Side. That's down on the South Side.
Yeah.
And actually, Steve knows those guys.
Yeah, it's
Record Breakers.
Yeah, the old Record Breakers guys.
So if you want to come out on a Sunday,
it's Rob owns the place, right?
Yeah, they have a party bus that takes people back and forth. Mm-hmm. So that's Sunday, February 17th. Reggie's, that's with my student band, the Aviators. You can find me at zachgoforth.com, or you can follow me at Instagram at Zachary Goforth, Zachary Goforth, just like it sounds. You can fill in your pun after the name. That happens all the time. Follow me on Facebook. Just check me out. I'm playing a lot, all over the place all the time.
All right, guys. Well, but yeah, definitely. And do the same for me. You know where all our shit is. It's in the show notes.
It's there.
It's there.
Plug your show.
So, I don't have to plug it. They listen. Anyway, thanks again, dude.
Dude, this
coming.
was great.
Anytime you want to come, just give me a call.
We've been trying to get it together for a
up.
while. This is really cool to finally get out here. This is fun. So,
yeah. So anytime you want to come out, just let me know, and we'll get it set up. I'll make the mics hot, and we'll go live. So
sounds good, man.
But all right, cool. For Pop Goulash this week, I'm Ruben.
I am Zach Goforth.
Be kind to one another.